or ethics complaints. I'm Maria Akita with the story.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. What is the city's planned STL program? I'll tell you coming up.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments about if a president can fire a federal agency head without cause.
Another top story in this broadcast, Ukraine's president meeting with European leaders today as the war continues with Russia.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer. It's going to be cold today, but clouds do give way to some sunshine, high 33.
MLB winter meetings will have full coverage here on the home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Eggland's Best.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin in Washington, where the Supreme Court is set to hear a case today involving President Trump and his dismissal of former Federal Trade Commission head Rebecca Slaughter. Loyola Law professor Lori Levinson.
The president is arguing that as the executive, he has unitary executive power to fire anybody who's in the executive branch.
Democrats demanding Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth release the full video of that second U.S. military strike on an alleged drug boat that killed 2 survivors of the first hit. Correspondent Bradley Blackburn.
Democrats call for the videos released. Over the weekend, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended the Trump administration's efforts to go after so-called narco-terrorists and said the second strike on September 2nd was justified.
Last week, President Trump said he's open to releasing the video. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is meeting with the leaders of the UK, France, and Germany. In the UK today, he's described peace talks with the U.S. as constructive, but not easy. The BBC's Vitaly Shevchenko.
This meeting that's taking place in London today comes at a crucial time for everyone involved because Donald Trump's administration is drifting away from Europe and towards Russia.
Last night, President Trump criticized Zelensky, saying he isn't ready to sign off on the peace proposal. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, one-time Trump loyalist, is speaking out about her fractured relationship with the president. She tells CBS's 60 Minutes.
For an America First president, the number one focus should have been domestic policy, and it wasn't. And so, of course, I was critical because those were my campaign promises. Once we fix everything here, then fine, we'll talk to the rest of the world.
Taylor Greene claims other Republican lawmakers are afraid to challenge him. A power-hitting infielder is headed to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
This is overwhelming. Just overwhelming.
5-time All-Star second baseman Jeff Kent will be enshrined in Cooperstown. The former National League MVP was voted into the Hall of Fame by the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee Sunday night.
I love the game. I still do. And a lot of these emotions that are going through me right now is bringing that game back.
Kent, courtesy of MLB Network, holds the record for the most home runs as a second baseman with 351 over his 17-year career. Erica Herskowitz for CBS News.
Falling short in last night's vote, steroid-tainted Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, as well as Fernando Valenzuela. Dow futures up 7. This is CBS News.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It is 6:03 and we have mostly cloudy skies, 25 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. In the news this morning, Granite City, Friday, a police officer was shot and injured. The suspect fled after the shooting.
Granite City Police Chief Gary Brooks shares what happened.
At approximately 2:19 p.m., we responded to an unwanted subject call in the 2000 block of Johnson Road in Granite City. Officers encountered a subject who immediately began firing upon the officers. One officer was struck several times, and then the subject fled on foot.
The subject is described as a white man with dark hair. According to a police scanner, his bag, hat, and jacket are believed to be recovered. Brooks says they are hopeful their officer makes a full recovery. He is a 4-year veteran of the department. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The suspect was captured and arrested around 3 o'clock Saturday morning. He's been identified as 26-year-old DJ Marshall.
The fact is these cartels now, because the southern border is closed, they've gone to the high seas.
That is Senator Eric Schmidt on ABC justifying U.S. strikes by the Trump administration on what they claim are narco-terrorists.
So President Trump is acting with his core Article 2 powers. No serious legal expert would doubt that the president has authority to blow narco-terrorists out of the water who are poisoning 100,000 Americans every year.
Schmidt says President Trump has been delegated the authority by Congress to designate terrorist organizations, which he has done, but Schmidt did not directly answer whether or not he supports these strikes in the Caribbean.
What do you mean you're not familiar with the facts and circumstances of the pardon? It's been well reported all across the country. He's the former president of Honduras. He was convicted of conspiring to bring in 400 tons of cocaine into the United States, also guns and other materials. It's been front page news across the country. Aren't you curious about that?
Well, I'm curious about your pushback on that particular point. With your previous guest, you had zero pushback because he's giving the Democrat talking points like you spew every single week, which is probably why your ratings are so bad. But to make the point, what I'm saying is that you're trying to divert here the attention from what the American people actually support.
Schmidt never did answer one way or the other as to whether he backs the president on that issue.
Former St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner could be facing ethics violations stemming from her taking $5,000 in public funds to pay off a court-ordered payback.
This goes back a few years when Kim Gardner was prosecuting former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens back in 2018. She got off with a reprimand from Missouri Supreme Court and was ordered to pay $5,000, which she admitted doing in 2024. Office of Chief Disciplinary Counsel believes this is yet another ethics violation. This is the group that investigates attorneys, and they call Gardner's actions professional misconduct to commit a crime. But Gardner's attorneys do not think this allegation is going to hold up because she has not been indicted, charged with the crime for using those public funds. Maria Akita, KMOX News.
It's possible that Gardner could lose her license and face disbarment.
A man involved in a crash on I-70 was struck and killed after getting out of his vehicle after the initial crash. Happened Sunday just after midnight near the intersection of Bermuda Drive and Lucas and Hunt in North St. Louis County. Investigators say the driver of that car stayed on the scene.
Webster University hasn't held classes in downtown St. Louis since 2022, but they still lease the first 2 floors of the arcade building on Olive. Now the university is suing its landlord, citing an audit showing Dominium charged them more than $1 million in inflated charges and fees they were not responsible for. According to the Business Journal, Dominium conducted their own audit but did not share the findings. The lawsuit was filed in federal court Friday.
A local pet clinic assessing the damage after a vehicle crashed into its building on South Jefferson.
The collision caused a large hole in the brick wall of Carroll House Quick Fix Pet Clinic. 3 vehicles the organization uses for various outreach programs and pet transportation were damaged. The vehicle that went through that wall went into the community cat room. 9 cats are receiving care. The clinic now faces unexpected costs to repair the building and replace the vehicles. There's a donation page that has been set up for anyone wishing to help the clinic recover and continue providing the care that they have. You can find that at KMOX.com. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
The business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. The former Steinmart in Rock Hill reopened over the weekend as Lava Island, an indoor playground that includes trampolines, foam pits, a tricycle track, 3-level jungle gym, and volcano slide. Lava Island is a Colorado-based chain, and each store's build-out costs about $5 million, according to the Business Journal. Originally, Lava Island was slated to move into the vacant movie theater in O'Fallon, Missouri. Another former Steinmart in Sunset Hills reopened as Urban Air Adventure Park.
Wow. I live pretty close to that Lava Island. Do they let adults bounce around in there?
I think they do.
Can I get in there before the kids take it over?
They'll have adult-only hour.
It's 6:08, traffic and weather next.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
This is Amy Marks Forrest, chair of this year's Red Kettle campaign. Christmas reminds us of the challenges faced by our neighbors in need, basic needs we sometimes take for granted. When you give with joy to the Salvation Army, you transform lives. You put food on the table and provide warm beds. You give veterans and seniors purpose. You help a child experience the joy of Christmas. And 90 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to critical social services. Bring joy to the world today. Visit salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10. Let's take a look at the roadways with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, so far so good, Debbie. There are no issues out there so far this morning as you make your way out the door and onto the area highways. Everything's looking great. Not even in the construction zone yet are we having any issues. 70 coming in through Warrenton, Wright City. You're good to go. If you're on northbound or southbound 270 around Ladue, easy going, and 55 coming up past 67 down in Festus and north of Bayless downtown. No road work going on right now, obviously near the Poplar or Muso Veterans Bridges, but the interstates westbound coming in for Illinois drivers are easy going as well. No delays on any of these area highways so far for you this morning. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Clouds will be followed by some sun today, but it's cold with a high of 33. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 29 early before temperatures begin to rise. Tomorrow turning breezy and not as cold with clouds and sun at a high of 54, but windy and turning colder on Wednesday. Clouds followed by some sun with temperatures falling into the upper 30s. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
25 degrees downtown right now. Weather sponsored by Allstate. Wish you could save on home insurance. With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It is 6:12. A Midwest report finds economic growth is flat or lower. Creighton University's Ernie Goss says there are a couple of factors, including the slow ag sector.
And that's what we're seeing. The rural areas not doing as well as the urban areas, and manufacturing not doing as well.
His latest report shows Missouri's business conditions index fell by double digits. Goss cites sluggish imports and exports. He says it's symptomatic of a global economic slowdown. Goss says on the bright side, he expects the Federal Reserve to make another small rate cut when it meets again next week.
The name of the 39-year-old man shot multiple times in the 5800 block of St. Louis Avenue Tuesday has been released. Jamel Harlan died from his injuries Friday. Police say the suspect called 911, claiming to be the shooter. He told police he was in the 2700 block of Goodfellow. Police responded and took the 30-year-old caller into custody.
It is a war crime. It's illegal. How will you put it? It's all illegal.
That's Senator and combat veteran Tammy Duckworth telling CNN the double-tap boat strike against a Venezuelan drug boat in the Caribbean was a war crime.
I've been shot down behind enemy lines. Under the laws of war, if a pilot bails out, he gets shot down, he bails out, he's in a rubber dinghy in the middle of the ocean. Under all the international laws of warfare, you are supposed to help render aid to that individual. Even if they have a radio and they're calling for their side to come pick them up, you're not allowed to go back in and kill them.
The Trump administration says the strike was necessary to protect the country. Officials insist the operation removed an imminent threat from international waters.
St. Louis City Anti-Crime Task Force caught a juvenile escapee in the Patch neighborhood. Detectives say the suspect tried to break into several homes on Friday. The 16-year-old ran from officers and threw a handgun with an extended magazine. Police confirmed the boy escaped a detention center on November 24th. Officials say the teen has been in and out of the juvenile system 19 times.
Not enough people in Illinois want to teach, but as WBBM's Dave Dahl reports, at least one program is giving a glimmer of hope.
It's the Teacher Vacancy Grant Pilot Program.
The program really allows districts to address the unique root causes of teacher shortages, including compensation, lack of qualified candidates, and competition. The most common investments include developing staff credentials, providing professional learning, offering compensation for new and returning teachers, and investing in recruitment practices.
That's Kirsten Parr, the Illinois State Board of Education's Director of Standards and Instruction. The program has spent $90 million over its first 2 years.
He wants to drive, the runner, the jam time! Oh my gosh! Oh, baby! That is the unbelievable dunk over the defender. McCautry, the lob to Kellen Thames.
The call on KMOX yesterday, the St. Louis and Kellen Thames with a thunderous dunk. And the Billikens beat Central Michigan 107-65. Billikens are on a tear right now. They take on San Francisco on Saturday night at Chaffetz Arena. You'll want to get in there to see them. They are must-watch basketball right now. Mizzou lost to Kansas 80-60 in Kansas City. Mizzou football found out where they're going to play their bowl game. It's the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville on December 27th against Virginia. Illinois will play Tennessee in the Music City Bowl on December 30th. Here's your college football playoff bracket. The number 1 seed, Indiana, 2, Ohio State, 3, Georgia, 4, Texas Tech. They all receive first-round byes. Indiana, the number 1 team in the country, will play the winner of Oklahoma and Alabama. The 8-9 game, Ohio State gets the winner of Texas A&M and Miami. Miami gets in, and Notre Dame, the team they beat earlier this season, is out of the playoff. Georgia plays the winner of Ole Miss and Tulane, and Texas Tech gets the winner of Oregon and James Madison. The Chiefs are on the verge of getting knocked out of the playoffs. They are 6-7 after losing last night on KMOX to the Houston Texans 20-10. The Bears slipped to second place in the NFC North, falling at Lambeau Field to the Packers 28-21. The Blues won 4-3 over Montreal. They've won back-to-back games. Jordan Bennington made 23 saves for the win. He'll be the top honoree tonight at the Jack Buck Awards of the Missouri Athletic Club. We'll broadcast it live at 8 o'clock. Bennington, the winner of the Sports Personality of the Year. Jim Hart, the legendary Cardinals quarterback, receives the Bob Plager Legends Award. You just heard Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. They received the Burns Bragg Award for promoting St. Louis through sports. Maddie DiMaria, the National Player of the Year in girls soccer. She's from Koryezu, and she gets the Carl O. Bauer Award tonight at the MAC. And John Rooney, the prestigious Jack Buck Award for the voice of the Cardinals. MLB winter meetings taking place in Orlando, Florida. And yesterday, they announced that Jeff Kent has been voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, more home runs than any second baseman in history. We have a report coming up from Matt Pauley from the winter meetings on the way in a half hour to see what the Cardinals are up to. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestatetematters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
This is Kyle Bush with Crunch Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. How many times have you changed jobs over the years? If you're like many professionals, you may have left behind one or more 401ks. Unwatched, unmanaged, and potentially your largest retirement asset. Just because it's out of sight doesn't mean it should be out of mind. Let's make sure it's working as hard for your future as you are. Your goals, our mission, start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, member FINRA/SIPC. Prince Financial is not a broker-dealer.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. For 43 days, the left kept the government closed, holding the American people hostage and demanding radical policy changes, including free health care for illegal immigrants. However, thanks to strong Republican leadership, the Senate voted to reopen the government and put America first. I'm thrilled to return to Washington so I can continue to vote to help Missourians, to secure our nation's borders, and to cut wasteful spending. Visit onder.house.gov to find the office closest to you.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20. Thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, nobody's complaining about anything yet. So far out the door right now, Debbie, there's a stall reported eastbound 64 at Kings Highway. It looks to me like it's already over to the shoulder there. I don't see any issues. There's a little more volume on the highways. I do see a little bit of a slowdown now. Northbound 55 briefly, the right lane's at Mattis, and a little busy north of Bayless up to River to Bear, just sort of slows you get into the construction zone there. It looks okay in the work zone 270 at Ladue. Out west, eastbound 70, Warrenton, Wright City area, you're fine. Southbound 61 again, just seeing a little bit more volume here. Just slow from the Wentzville Parkway down to 64 or 70. But once you hit the highways there, take your pick. They're both in great shape across the Missouri River bridges and across the Mississippi River bridges downtown. Not seeing any westbound delays for Illinois drivers either. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare says a high of only 33 today. It's going to be a cold one, although we will get some sunshine. Low 29 early tonight. Then temperatures begin to rise after midnight. When you get up tomorrow, it'll be a little warmer, and by tomorrow afternoon, a high of 54 with some sunshine. Wednesday, colder. Clouds break for some sun, a morning high of 46, but temperatures fall into the upper 30s. Very chilly Thursday. There's a chance for a bit of snow or flurry, says Heather, a high of 38. Friday, brisk and cold, a snow shower still possible, a high 33. Currently, it's 25 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. Hollywood unions and trade groups aren't quite unified following the announcement of Netflix buying Warner Brothers. KNX's Alex Silverman has been gathering reaction.
The Writers Guild of America West has taken the strongest stance against the deal. I talked with the president, Michelle Mulroney.
We've seen this movie before, and sadly, we know how it ends.
She says it inevitably means less competition, lower pay, mass layoffs.
When we all sit on our couches or figure out what movies we're going to go out and see, it sometimes feels like there's this endless amount of places to find content. But in reality, all these platforms and networks are owned and controlled by a small number of companies. And now if this merger goes through, an even smaller number.
Mulroney says the WGA is already lobbying against it.
If the billions of dollars that have been thrown around on playing, Russian roulette with merger propositions, who knows? Warner Brothers may have been able to reinvest that in their company and stabilize themselves.
A touch more circumspect from the Producers Guild, which says its members are rightfully concerned, and the Directors Guild, which says it'll meet with Netflix to better understand its vision for the future of the company. And SAG-AFTRA's statement points out that the $82 billion actually reaffirms the true value of legacy media companies, but it won't take a position until it analyzes the details. Movie theaters are concerned too. Their trade group, Cinema United, says this is an unprecedented threat. I spoke with Bloomberg media reporter Lucas Shaw about that issue. Right now, Warner Brothers movies go to theaters first. Netflix doesn't do that.
Netflix, at least for now, is saying they're going to keep putting those Warner Brothers movies in theaters, but it sounds like they will compress that lag time.
Meaning a shorter run in theaters before they go to streaming. Netflix boss Ted Sarandos calls that consumer-friendly. Cinema United says the negative impact will affect theaters from the biggest circuits to one-screen independents around the world. I'm Alex Silverman, KNX News 97.1 FM.
And now Mike Simpson, who takes a tour through the most memorable holiday movies of all time.
This scene and this song kind of live in my head when I'm rushing around at the last minute. And honestly, Home Alone is one of the first holiday movies that I remember.
There are so many reasons why we love Christmas movies. You know, they're usually very uplifting films. It just makes people feel like they're at home no matter where they are.
Movie critic Scott Mancy says there are a lot of best of lists out there, but some movies are always on them.
Ralphie, what would you like for Christmas? I want an official Red Ryder Carbine Action 200 range ball air rifle.
I love A Christmas Story.
No, shoot your eye out. Oh, no.
There's always a marathon on TV. I also know a lot of people who watch Elf every year.
Elf is joyful. It is charming. Will Ferrell, probably the movie that he's best known for, which is not a bad thing at all. And then there's the film Love Actually, every single romantic comedy stereotype in the books. But people love that film.
Can you do Hugh Grant's dance? Good movie, but needs more explosions.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. Shall I go on about why Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
No, I don't think you need to, because you know what? I agree. And my favorite Christmas movie, which is a Christmas movie, is Batman Returns.
Well, come what may. Merry Christmas, Mr. Wayne.
Merry Christmas, Al. But you know, we probably should end with an all-time classic.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
It's a Wonderful Life is still the Citizen Kane of Christmas movies. It has everything. This movie really is as good as everyone says it is, and I have no problem saying that it really is the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Whatever you're watching, enjoy it. I'm Mike Simpson, KNX News 97.1 FM.
I would say for me, It's a Wonderful Life is not only the best Christmas movie of all time, it's one of the greatest movies of all time, and I watch it every Christmas Eve.
I do too, and I cry every single time.
Do you?
Every single time.
Great movie. And then for me, Christmas Vacation is like the staple. Like that's the one that I have to watch at least once. It's just part of Christmas for me. It's just
We all
amazing.
have our favorites.
That's a great one. 627 coming up on Time Check, sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Neil Forever performs Neil Diamond live in concert at the Factory in Chesterfield on Friday, January 9th.
It's fantastic.
Friday, January 9th, Neil Forever performing all the hits of Neil Diamond at the Factory.
He is a great performer.
He's amazing.
Sounds just like Neil.
Get on board. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Window specialist. With winter, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Chris and Amy standing up for the Lou.
We had a texter suggest that we use some of the Rams money to buy a high rise in Singapore and let it go down.
And load it up with asbestos and
just let
mold.
that sit there. See how they feel about it.
That's,
let's not be vindictive.
No, let's be really vindictive. Singapore, if they're going to do this to us.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores, taking receipts. Weekdays at 9 on KMOX.
It is 6:30. You're listening to Total Information AM, and right now it's cloudy, 25 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's check in with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's a little slow here and there. Northbound 55, the right lane's a little bit busy around Mattis. There's some heavier traffic from between Bayless and Weber. Ramping on to North 270, the ramp on is a little slow. Other than that, it looks good till you get up around Clayton Road, headed up into the work zone at Ladue. We're starting to see some slow traffic there. More slow traffic on southbound 61, delays now from Highway P. In fact, it backs up briefly at P, slow down to Wentzville Parkway, but then it opens up once you get past Wentzville Parkway, and you're good getting on to 64 or 70, and they're both hustling across the Missouri River bridges. I don't see any issues there. And downtown, we're still okay. Westbound 55, 70, and 64, easy going headed across the Poplar, Mutual Veterans Bridges down south, the JB up north, the Chain of Rocks, everything is in good shape for Illinois drivers getting in to the Missouri side to get out wherever you need to go, maybe the airport or anything else. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
That forecast is going to be cold for today, but we will have plenty of sunshine, a high of 33. Tomorrow it warms up to 54 with a mix of sun and clouds, and then the temperatures start to fall back into the 30s by Wednesday. Right now it's 25 downtown.
In the Metro East, a 26-year-old man was arrested over the weekend after police say he shot an officer, triggering an all-night manhunt. The shooting happened Friday afternoon in the 2000 block of Johnson Road, that's in Granite City. Police say the officer is in stable condition. According to court records, the man has a lengthy criminal record dating back to 2018.
St. Louis is expanding its plan to create greater coordination between the neighborhoods and what new developments come to them.
Wells Goodfellow, Hamilton Heights, Kingsway West, College Hill, Fairground Neighborhood, Penrose, and O'Fallon.
Jonathan Roper with the city's planning and urban design agency, sharing the neighborhoods who will next be a part of the city's Plan STL program. He tells KMOX what the purpose of the program is.
These neighborhood plans are land use plans that provide guidance for how land should be developed, and they provide an overall vision, goals, and with strategies to get there.
The first plan created as a part of this program is expected to be unveiled later this month. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis police have released the name of the man who died after being hit by a car in the Benton Park neighborhood. Investigators say 58-year-old Dennis Ash was hit around 11 o'clock Wednesday night. It happened in the 2700 block of Gravois. Ash was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The driver of the car is cooperating with police.
There's been another recall of milk.
This time, it's Prairie Farms fat-free milk, sold in Illinois and Wisconsin. Quote, food-grade cleaning products, close quote, which can make you ill if ingested, are possibly in the milk. Also, a certain number of Ritz peanut butter cracker sandwiches were recalled in a number of states. The sandwiches may be incorrectly labeled as the cheese variety, resulting in an unclear peanut allergen. Missouri is amongst these states where the incorrectly labeled Ritz sandwiches may have been distributed. For more information, go to health.com. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
If you're looking for a reason to check out the newly reopened Powell Hall, the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra has announced several new performances that appeal to a wide range of interests. That includes the Simon & Garfunkel story in February, the Terrence Blanchard and Ravi Coltrane, Miles Davis, and John Coltrane Centennial in June. I saw them recently. They are amazing, those two. and the Rodgers and Hammerstein Sound of Music sing-along in July.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I got to be honest. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It is 6:34.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
It is 6:35, and thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM. Let's get you updated on your money report, which is sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. President Trump has raised potential antitrust concerns around Netflix's planned acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. He told reporters that it's a big market share, and that could be a problem. Netflix faces a Justice Department review of a deal that would reshape the entertainment industry. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos met with the president recently to lobby for the acquisition. Checking on your money, it's a cautious start to the trading week. Stock futures are flat this morning ahead of the Federal Reserve's final meeting of the year. The central bank is expected to cut interest rates when its two-day meeting wraps up on Wednesday. And cosmetics giant L'Oreal is boosting its bet on injectable anti-wrinkle treatments as people want to look younger for longer. It's doubling its stake in Botox rival Galderma Group to 20%. Galderma brings products including dermocosmetics and injectable skin fillers to L'Oreal's beauty lineup. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey, let me tell you about Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. I don't know if you realize this, but they're about to turn 100, just like us. We're 1 year older than them, though. They started in 1926. They invented the overhead garage door. Also, I'll give you a little tip about Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They are hiring technicians. Just go to overheaddoorstlouis.com and you can enter your information and they'll get right back to you. Great job to have. I really like the technicians at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Anthony is the technician who comes over to our house. We've gotten to know him through the last few years. Once a year, tune up the garage door. You're good to go. It's like brand new. They tune up all brands of garage doors. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the one with the red ribbon. That's because people try to copy the name, but they can't copy the service. They just can't. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, 314-781-5200. You can find them online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. Longtime partner of ours here at KMOX, that's for sure, and we love them. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
Great news, Nick. Legacy boxes are still in stock. With Christmas just around the corner, there's still time to buy the best Christmas gift ever. Legacy Box.
That's right, Adam. Order today and Legacy Box ships immediately. It'll arrive ready to wrap and place under the tree.
Gather the family together this Christmas and collect all your old VHS and camcorder tapes, slides, pictures, and film reels. Then you can binge on the good old days.
From fading over time to risks like fire and water damage, your memories aren't protected unless they're on a digital format. Legacy Box helps you replay those great moments from the past, from Christmas morning to your wedding day.
Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos. All the work is done right here in the USA, and over 1 million customers have trusted Legacy Box.
This Christmas is the time to digitize. Visit legacybox.com/value for exclusive holiday savings. That's legacybox.com/value for last-minute shopping. LegacyBox.com/value.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
This holiday season, when you get them STIHL, batteries are included. Buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit STIHLUSA.com for gift ideas and seasonal savings. Happy holidays from STIHL. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
A big change. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. For 30 years, the government has advised that all babies be vaccinated against hepatitis B right after birth. Now, the recommendation is only to give the birth dose to babies whose mothers test Hep B positive and in cases where the mom wasn't tested. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary says in all other cases, it will be up to the parents and their doctors to decide if a birth dose is appropriate.
If the mom is Hep B negative, which is the vast majority of women who deliver babies in the United States today, and they want to delay it until the kid is 8 or 10 or 12, let's be honest, hepatitis B is a sexually transmitted and bloodborne pathogen. There's essentially no risk of them getting it before then.
Advisory panel member Dr. Cody Meisner was one of the no votes.
And I will just say, we've heard do no harm is a moral imperative. We are doing harm.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary says the government is not your doctor, and the Hep B decision should be left up to parents and their pediatrician. With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got a little trouble now, Tom, on eastbound Highway 70. This traffic reports Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. Just a little slowdown eastbound 70 between A and Lake St. Louis Boulevard, but we do have a jam building eastbound 70 as you approach Lucas Hunt. There's a crash just before Jennings Station on eastbound 70. It looks like it has the left lane blocked right now. I don't see any police on the scene yet. I know they're aware of it. Northbound 270, a little slow approaching Gravois. Then north of Doherty Ferry up to Leduc is busy the whole way through there. Northbound 55, the right lanes around Mattis. And then north of Bayless up to River de Pere, there's a little slow stuff running there. It's out west, southbound 61, slow approaching P. And then Wentzville Parkway down to 64 downtown. Still looks great westbound for folks headed across the bridges. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing a checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
6:41, time for us to check in with AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare. And Heather, it seems like we have a little bit of everything in this forecast this week.
Yeah, we are covering a lot of bases here for this morning. So far, it has been on the colder side. Temperatures are down into the 20s. We even have some of the little more distant suburbs that are down into the teens this morning, and it's going to stay cold. The clouds that are out there now, they're going to start to fall apart, and we'll see some sun as we go through the day. The high, though, is only going to be 33 degrees. The average for today is 47. Tonight, partly cloudy. We'll drop down to 29 early. Temperatures begin to rise after midnight then, and it's not going to be as cold tomorrow. We'll have some sun and a breeze with a high of 54. However, it's turning colder again on Wednesday. It'll be windy as clouds break for some sun. The morning high will be 46. Temperatures fall into the upper 30s then, and it stays chilly with a chance for a bit of snow or flurries on Thursday. The best chance is north of St. Louis. 38 will be the high. And then still a snow shower chance with a brisk and cold day Friday, clouds and a high of 33. Right now, 24 in St. Peters, 23 in Florissant, 25 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:43, sports in 2 minutes. It's been a few days since the blockbuster Netflix deal came down, and Bob Brill reports there are some things to consider.
If you have several streaming services and you want to watch an old movie, you know what pops up. With Prime and some of the others, you see you have to pay $3.99 or so to watch that older film, despite the fact that you're a subscriber. Netflix doesn't do that, but with this acquisition, might that be an option? Entertainment attorney and journalist Jonathan Handel says there are lots of options the company may consider.
The one thing we know is the wisdom of experience, and that is that when companies merge, consumer prices go up and industry people suffer layoffs. That's really the only solid judgment here. We don't know whether Netflix might institute a la carte pricing for certain products. They've never done that before, to my knowledge. We don't know whether the cost of a Netflix subscription would go up. It seems highly likely that if they're including HBO and Warner catalog material, that there would be an increase in price.
And now the President Trump says he will get involved in the regulatory process. This will be a very long and drawn-out process, which could end up with new suitors jumping in.
A costume worn by Will Ferrell in the Christmas movie Elf has been sold for more than $300,000 at a British-based auction house.
I'll be okay. I just need a glass of water.
Fainting Buddy the Elf, played by Will Ferrell. The film prop auction house Prop Store says the elf costume that sold was one of only a handful made for the 2003 film. It came from the personal collection of producer John Berg. A cat figure used for the 1993 animated film Nightmare Before Christmas fetched $11,000. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
Well, let's get into it. First of all, the Major League Baseball winter meetings are underway. KMOX's Matt Pauley in Orlando.
Cardinals President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom is expected to have many conversations regarding all of the club's tradable players over the next 3 days here at baseball's winter meetings in Orlando. While the club is still expected to make a number of moves this offseason, Bloom on Sunday morning told KMOX that it's not a sure thing a deal gets done while the meetings are taking place.
I do think it's a mistake to go in there thinking, hey, we have to leave here having done X, because outside of the Rule 5 draft on Wednesday, there is not a deadline or a milestone for the offseason that happens during these meetings. Now, all that said, the environment's really conducive to getting stuff done. Everybody's having conversations. We get to talk to our friends in the media every day about it. It creates that kind of convention, swap meet, pressure cooker atmosphere that sometimes just pushes people towards things that they might ultimately be willing to do.
The first bit of news from the winter meetings is the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee selecting Jeff Kent for the Hall of Fame. Individuals who are up for consideration but do not get in include Carlos Delgado, Dale Murphy, Don Mattingly, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Gary Sheffield, and former Cardinal Fernando Valenzuela. At the baseball winter meetings in Orlando, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Matt will have Sports Open Line tonight from Orlando, 6 to 8 p.m. And then we take you to the Missouri Athletic Club for the Jack Buck Awards at 8 o'clock. Jordan Bennington, the Sports Personality of the Year. He helped the Blues to a 4-3 win over Montreal on the road last night. SLU won at Chaffetz Arena against Central Michigan, hammered them 107-65. Mizzou lost in Kansas City, fell to their rival, the Kansas Jayhawks. 80-60 was the final in that one. We've learned where Mizzou and Illinois will play their bowl games later this month. Missouri takes on Virginia in the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. That'll be on December 27th. And then December 30th, it's the Music City Bowl in Nashville, Illinois, and Tennessee. The college football playoff bracket is set. Number 1 seed is Indiana after winning the Big Ten over the weekend at Indianapolis, defeating Ohio State. Ohio State drops to 2, Georgia 3, the SEC champion, and Texas Tech, the Big 12 champion, is 4. Those teams get first-round byes. Indiana will play the winner of Oklahoma and Alabama, the 8-9 game. A little controversy surrounding Alabama making it into the playoff and Notre Dame getting left out. Texas A&M will play Miami. The Hurricanes beat Notre Dame at the start of the season. They are seeded 10th. Winner of that Texas A&M Miami game gets Ohio State. Ole Miss will play Tulane. The winner of the American Athletic Conference, winner plays Georgia, and Texas Tech will get the winner of Oregon and the 12-seed James Madison, the Sun Belt Conference champion. In the NFL, the Chiefs lost last night on KMOX to the Texans 20-10. Kansas City now 6-7 on the season. The Bears dropped to second in the NFC North as the Packers get them in Lambeau Field 28-21. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Swing and a home run to left.
There when legends were born.
The first major league home run for Albert Pujols.
Pujols hits a high fly ball. That's deep. Left center field. It's a gunner.
Swinging another home run. There it is, his third of the game. Albert Pujols 5 for 5 with 3 home runs.
Pujols swings and he drives this one left field down the line, and it's a gunner. Home run 703.
And to all you Cardinal Nation, best fans in baseball, thank you.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Achieve more with competitive rates on savings and lending. Visit togethercu.org.
For 100 years, KMOX has been part of St. Louis. Now, Together Credit Union is helping celebrate that legacy. Starting in November, visit any Together Credit Union branch to pick up a KMOX 100th anniversary commemorative ornament for just $5 while supplies last. Each ornament supports Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis. Together Credit Union, honoring 100 years of KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, and Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis, improving the health of all children.
Winter Wonderland, presented by St. Louis County Parks and Recreation at Tillis Park, is now open through January 3rd. Enjoy more than 1 million dazzling lights with holiday characters and festive scenes. Whether you're carrying on a family tradition or starting a new one, you'll never see anything like Winter Wonderland at Tillis Park. Happy holidays from Kirkwood Fence, Tully Tire, Washington University Orthopedics, Restoration One, and Happy Roof. More info at KMOX.com.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
6:50 and time to check in with Roger Brand, who is keeping his eyes on your ride-in this morning from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's getting busier and the jam's getting longer on eastbound 70, Debbie. First of all, out west, eastbound 70 is bogged down from Highway A all the way in through about Bryan Road. After that, it's no big deal until you get into Cool Valley, right around Florissant Road. And that's where it becomes bumper to bumper because it looks like at least the left lane and maybe the 2 left lanes. Now, it's hard for me to see looking through the trees, but they have this crash eastbound 70 just before Jennings Station. Westbound 70 just kind of slow on the way by from about Riverview out to that same point. If you're on southbound 61, there's a couple of slow spots south of P down to 64. Doesn't look that bad. 64 a little busy east of Winghaven briefly. Northbound 270 delays. Approaching Gravois to 44 and then Doherty Ferry all the way up to Ladue. Northbound 55. About Bayless up to River to Pears heaviest. And downtown westbound still looks great across the Poplar and Muso Veterans Bridges. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Duke's Mayonnaise.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about the best mayo. It has a yellow lid, and its full name is Duke's Mayonnaise. Get Duke's Mayo at Hannaford. It's got twang.
We like that one. If you watch our video on YouTube, X, and Facebook, you can see Debbie dance to that song.
It has a yellow lid.
It does indeed, and we have what's going to be a up and down week of weather today, a high of just 33 degrees, although we will get some sunshine. That always helps. Tonight, low 29. The temperatures begin to rise after midnight. Tomorrow, breezy, not as cold in the afternoon, a high of 54. We drop into the upper 30s on Wednesday as the day goes along, and then Thursday, a chance for a bit of snow or flurries and a high of 38. It's 26 downtown now.
6:52 and time to check in with our CBS News business analyst, Jill Schlesinger. And Jill, first of all, happy Monday. But secondly, it's this weird moment in time when if you look at the stock market, it looks like everything's going great. The economy is growing, and yet so many people are just feeling like they cannot keep up because everything's so expensive.
I like to call this the "you're not crazy" segment because, you know, you'll hear people like me come on the air and say, oh, you know, the economy is growing, stock market reaching new highs, housing values are up, everyone's getting wealthier. And you're like, what? I don't feel that way. You're not crazy. And the way I can explain this is to think about the letter K. Okay. Draw a line down and look at those 2 different arms. One goes up, one goes down, right? That's the K. Let's talk about the top part of it. These people are the people who basically have a lot of money already saved or are making a lot of money, meaning more than, say, $175,000 a year. These are the kinds of people who probably already own a home and they have money in their retirement accounts, enough money to feel good about the stock market being up a lot. Or maybe they're have an account that's outside of retirement and they're doing really well and they feel really good. Now, if you look at the bottom arm of the K, you look at anyone who's making less than about, again, this is, depends where you live, but about 175,000 and lower. These folks are worried about their jobs. They are contending with still high prices. They may have some money in the stock market inside of their retirement accounts, but they have smaller account values or they have a long time before they can access that money. And so all they're focused on is price levels for everything from childcare to elder care to health care to their rent to automobile costs. And that is what we are seeing as like this really big divide between the haves and the have-nots, which is coloring everyone's view of what is going on in the economy. It really does come down to what's going on in your personal situation, and that influences how you feel about the economy.
Well, one of the things I read at JillOnMoney.com in your blog is the anxiety about the labor market. Not only large companies like Amazon, but small companies are laying people off, Jill.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I mean, it's not good news, but it's interesting in that often when we see a labor market that's slowing down, and we did see a slowdown in the labor market, you kind of see it all across the board, right? So you have big companies saying we're not hiring or we're laying off. It's sort of like a broad-based picture. That's not what we are seeing. What we are seeing is smaller companies have really been the leaders in laying people off. Whereas you might hear about, oh, Amazon's laying people off, but it's a fraction of the number of people they already employ. Whereas the smaller companies are getting smaller. Some of these companies have really been hit by the tariffs and the uncertainty that tariffs bring. And what I'm hearing is that on the ground, a lot of these smaller companies, think about like your local restaurant that is like, oh, it's closed. What happened? A lot of them got through the pandemic with the help of some government assistance. Now they're adjusting to the reality that they had to raise prices. People weren't going to go out as much. They suffered, and now they have to lay people off. So all of these things are taken together and paint an economy that's in transition. I got good news, though. I don't want this to be a bummer. Are you ready?
Ready.
Yeah. Okay. Regular gas prices are now below $3 a gallon nationally, first time in 4 years. And also, we're likely to get another interest rate cut when the Fed finishes their meeting the day after tomorrow. We'll get another 0.25 percentage point. We're down to 3.5 to 3.75%. If that's the case, it would be the lowest range in nearly 3 years. So it will be actually a little bit better for borrowers. I'm hoping that this kind of this push into the end of the year also will be helped. If you don't go crazy spending for the holiday season, you also are likely to look ahead and say, hey, I'm probably going to get a big tax refund. A lot of the tax experts that I speak to say that they think this is going to be the best season for individual refunds in terms of the amounts that they have seen in a long time. So if you don't blow it by putting a whole bunch of presents on your credit card, you might get a little bit of extra money, and that could help you feel better about where you stand in your own financial life.
That is Jill Schlesinger. You can always learn more at JillOnMoney.com. She's our CBS News business analyst. Have a great week. Take care.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your
Birthday shout out sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday to Frazzy Schmidt from the Game Nighters. Happy 12th to Henry Lewis Klug. Also, Jenny Klug. Denny Elford is celebrating. Happy 32nd to Adam Unterberg from Babu, McKenna Liesel and family. William Schwacker, Kevin Berghoff, Gina Berkemeyer, Jim Holder, Sister Marianne Nessel, and Ryan Renko.
This is the best birthday ever.
Resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. 314-336-1991. Go to thegomanteam.com.
Tom Ackerman here for Busey Bank, recognizing the Guardian Angel Settlement Association as a building community partner. Guardian Angel serves under-resourced community members, helping them take the first step on the path to possible. They assist over 5,000 individuals in our community through their early childhood education and social stability programs. To learn more about Guardian Angel, Google Guardian Angel STL. Busey Bank encourages you to get involved. Together, we can build community.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President at Busey Bank. At Busey, community and giving back are at the heart of everything we do. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbors and your partners. We take pride in engaging with the communities we serve and building lasting relationships because our commitment to strengthening our communities is a top priority. Whether you're shopping local or giving back through volunteerism, every little bit counts. Join us at Busey Bank as we continue building the communities we call home.
Agency heads without cause. Correspondent Jan Crawford has our top story from Washington.
Democrat Rebecca Slaughter's term on the 5-member Federal Trade Commission was supposed to last until 2029. Then President Trump, who first appointed her in 2018, fired her in March. Slaughter sued.
Luigi Mangione, the man accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, is expected to be back at court in New York today as the judge there considers the defense request to exclude evidence gathered before they claim he was read his Miranda rights. Meantime, prosecutors have released new pictures of evidence gathered after he was arrested. CBS's Katrina Kaufman.
A USB stick that Mangione was wearing as a necklace, a December 4th bus ticket from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, and a note that was found folded up in his pocket. It was a to-do list with dates and various items on it.
Drivers in Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana had to deal with a snowy mess on the roads over the weekend. Meteorologist Rob Marciano says there's bitter cold moving in elsewhere.
Wind chills tonight down in the teens and below zero in many spots across the northeastern third of the country.
They're bracing for heavy rain in the Cascades foothills of Washington state. Cairo TV's Jake Chapman.
If we do see flooding, don't try to drive through it and avoid the roads if you can. Even if the water doesn't look dangerous, looks can be deceiving.
Millions of people are driving cars and trucks that have been recalled, but not repaired. WWJ's Jeff Gilbert.
A dozen people have died over the past decade when airbags under recall but not repaired have failed to deploy in crashes. That from a Wall Street Journal analysis. It found only 22% of vehicles recalled for the issue had been repaired. That leaves 2.6 million unfixed vehicles still on the road.
School officials in San Jose, California say they've referred an anti-Semitic act at Branham High School to police. An image went viral of 8 students lying on the football field forming a human swastika, along with a quote from Adolf Hitler. President Trump took the helm at last night's Kennedy Center honors. He paid tribute to, among others, Phantom of the Opera's Michael Crawford. The Broadway star talked about what it was like to play the original Phantom of the Opera on Broadway.
Florida wildlife. When you reach the end of your career and you're playing something as deeply emotional as Phantom, you must make him live. You have to make him live. And you suffer. It hurts every night to do it, but it's a wonderful hurt.
This is
tail in the pursuit of flavor. The holidays were tricky for the Colonel. He loved people, but he also loved peace and quiet. So he cooked up KFC. Chicken pot pie, the best $4.99 you'll spend this season.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Taxes, tips, and fees extra.
Selling your home, it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. You could go it alone, trying to navigate market trends, determine fair pricing, and tackle tricky negotiations on your own. You could second guess every decision, wondering if you're doing it right. Then there's the showings, the offers, and the mountain of paperwork. Or you could work with the expertise of a realtor, here to guide and help protect as you make your next big move. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It is 7:04. We have mostly cloudy skies right now. It's 24 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. A Metro East police officer is recovering after being shot Friday.
Officers were called to the 2000 block of Johnson Road for an unwanted individual. According to Police Chief Gary Brooks, the individual opened fire on responding officers.
One officer was struck several times, and he has been transported to a local hospital where he is currently receiving treatment.
Police Chief Gary Brooks believes he will make a full recovery. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The suspect has been identified as 26-year-old DJ Marshall and was taken into custody in Granite City very early Saturday morning following an overnight manhunt.
It seems as though former St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner is facing more ethics violations stemming from taking public funds to pay off a court-ordered payback.
The first ethics charges she faced were related to her prosecution of former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens. The Post-Dispatch reporting this week the Office of Chief Disciplinary Counsel will hear evidence about these new allegations of misconduct relative to the $5,000. Gardner admitted that she took the public funds, but Gardner's attorneys argue these accusations will not hold up because she was never indicted, charged, or ordered to appear in court. Gardner received a reprimand from Missouri Supreme Court and be ordered to pay the money. There is a chance, though, that Gardner could be disbarred. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Democrat Senator and combat veteran Tammy Duckworth was on CNN Sunday talking about the double-tap boat strike against a Venezuelan drug boat. There were 2 survivors after the first strike.
Everything that they've done has been illegal. It's illegal under international law. It's illegal under the Geneva Convention. And it certainly is even illegal under domestic law. It was essentially murder with that double tap strike.
President Trump doubled down on the strike, saying terrorists were headed toward the United States. CNN reports the vessel planned to meet a larger ship bound for Suriname. Admiral Frank Bradley told lawmakers the deadly shipment could have easily reached the American border.
The 2 survivors were clinging to half of a boat in the middle of the ocean and had no access to a radio, per the Admiral's briefing. And so, yes, all of it's been the whole operation is illegal to begin with.
The strike eliminated 11 alleged smugglers involved in the drug operation.
A Midwest report finds economic growth is flat or lower. Creighton University's Ernie Goss says there are a couple of factors, including the slow ag sector.
And that's what we're seeing. The rural areas not doing as well as the urban areas, and manufacturing not doing as well.
His latest report shows Missouri's business conditions index fell by double digits. Goss cites sluggish imports and exports. He says it's symptomatic of a global economic slowdown. Goss says on the bright side, he expects the Federal Reserve to make another small rate cut when it meets again next week.
A late-night police pursuit ended in 1 death and 2 injuries. The chase began in North County and ended around 11:30 Sunday night in North City in the Wells Goodfellow Hamilton Heights area. The vehicle being pursued by police crashed into several light posts, flipped over, then crashed into a parked car with 5 occupants. The driver of the vehicle was killed in the crash. 2 of the people in the parked car were taken to the hospital.
A St. Louis pet clinic badly damaged after a driver crashed into it, almost hitting some of the cats inside. Police were called to Carroll House Quick Fix Pet Clinic on Jefferson overnight Saturday. The executive director says the vehicle was in the room where the cats were recovering from surgery. 3 transport vehicles the clinic uses that were parked out front were also damaged. The cause of that crash is under investigation.
The Business Desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. If you're looking for a reason to check out the newly reopened Powell Hall, the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra has announced several new performances that appeal to a wide range of interests. That includes the Simon & Garfunkel story in February, the Terrence Blanchard and Ravi Coltrane, Miles Davis and John Coltrane Centennial in June, and the Rodgers and Hammerstein Sound of Music sing-along in July.
If you want to know what the weather is going to be like and if that traffic is still going to slow you down, stick around because traffic and weather are next at 7:08.
Life is better together. At Fairwinds River's Edge, dynamic activity calendars, excellent meal options, and an abundance of services come together to create a strong sense of community where meaningful connections are cultivated. Here, you can trust that there will always be something fun and social to do. It's not just a place to live, it's a place to belong. To see what's happening this month, visit us on Facebook or online, fairwindsriversedge.com.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
James talks about his experience with 3-day kitchen and bath.
My wife and I had been talking for several years about getting our kitchen and bathroom remodeled. We'd had some bids actually been made. The thing that always put us off was that they were talking about 2 or 3 months to get all this work done. We heard about 3-day bath and kitchen. We thought that we'd give it a try. They spent 3 days on one of our items and 4 days on another, and the cost was about the same thing as all the people gave us 3-month estimates for. They went out of their way to make sure that we were satisfied with everything when the job was finished. There's simply no question about the idea that they want satisfied customers and they want people who are pleased with their work.
It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
This is Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stiefel. As the year comes to a close, I want to thank our clients, colleagues, and communities for your trust and support. We're especially proud of the Stiefel U.S. ski team. Their drive, resilience, and pursuit of their goals this winter reminds us what's possible when we stay committed. From all of us at Stiefel, we wish you and your family a joyful holiday season and a new year filled with health, happiness, and success. Stiefel, where success meets success.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Roger Brand, what's the latest on that backup on 70 overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Well, some good news now, Tom, because they're letting one lane through on the right-hand side. So one lane's open now, eastbound 70, just before Jennings Station. We had all lanes closed for a few minutes. It's still a solid jam, though. That's the only jam we have out there this morning. It's solid bumper to bumper as you approach Hanley, all the way in through to Jennings Station. And westbound Gawkers are backed up at about Goodfellow on the way by, but it doesn't look like there's any westbound lane blockage involved. That's the only 70 issue we have as far as delays at all. And like I said, it's the only jam we have. Northbound 270 north of Doherty Ferry up to Ladue, that's slow. Eastbound 64 out west, just a little slow down past Winghaven, a little slow at the Interbelt. South 170 Brentwood down through the U Club Tower looks a little heavy. Northbound 55 starting to slow at 67 and a little busy just from Weber up to River to Pear. Then you're back on track. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather. It'll be cold today. Clouds give way to some sun with a high of 33. Partly cloudy tonight, low 29 early before temperatures begin to rise. Cloud, sun, and not as cold for tomorrow. It'll be breezy with a high of 54. Then on Wednesday, it's windy and turning colder with some sun returning. Temperatures fall to the upper 30s, though. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is cloudy and 24 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
It's 7:12. A 16-year-old boy who escaped last month from St. Louis County Juvenile Detention Center is back in custody.
St. Louis Police Anti-Crime Task Force patrolling the Patch neighborhood when they saw a suspect trying to forcibly enter homes. Detectives questioned the teen, but he ran, later found. Police say they found a handgun with an extended magazine. After the juvenile's arrest by ACTF detectives, they transported the 16-year-old to the Division of Youth Services. Detectives learned that the teen has been referred to the juvenile system 19 times. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Missouri's junior Senator Eric Schmidt telling ABC he is not familiar with the facts and circumstances surrounding President Trump's pardon of the former president of Honduras.
I think what's telling here is to try to imply that somehow President Trump is soft on drug smuggling is just ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. He's provided border security like we've never seen before.
In 2024, former President Juan Orlando Hernandez was convicted of drug trafficking, money laundering, and arms dealing.
Illinois reports some progress in fixing the teacher shortage. Dave Dahl reports.
From the State Board of Education, Standards and Instruction Director Kirsten Parr says the teacher vacancy grant pilot program is working.
Districts are hiring, retaining, and upskilling more educators than ever. That program has resulted in more than 12,000 new hires, 15,000 educators retained, and 2,300 educators earning licensure or endorsement.
The 170 participating districts represent about half the public school kids in the state. At the Illinois Capitol, Dave Dahl, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
There's been another recall, this time at Prairie Farms. It's their fat-free milk sold in Illinois and Wisconsin. The recalled milk may contain food-grade cleaning products that could make you ill if ingested. Also, a certain number of Ritz peanut butter cracker sandwiches were recalled in 8 states. Those sandwiches may be incorrectly labeled as the cheese variety, resulting in an undeclared peanut allergen. The Ritz peanut crackers were sold in several states, including Missouri. For more information, just go to health.com.
The former Steinmart in Rock Hill reopened over the weekend as Lava Island, an indoor playground that includes trampolines, foam pits, tricycle tracks, 3-level jungle gym, volcano slide. Lava Island, a Colorado-based chain. Each store's build-out costs about $5 million, according to the Business Journal. Originally, Lava Island was slated to move into the vacant movie theater in O'Fallon, Missouri. Another former Steinmart in Sunset Hills reopened as Urban Air Adventure Park. Well, the Blues season has been an adventure thus far, but now they've won back-to-back games, beat the Montreal Canadiens last night 4-3 on 23 saves from Jordan Bennington, who will be at the Missouri Athletic Club tonight. He'll be honored as Sports Personality of the Year from his playoff run for the Blues last season and winning for Canada with a phenomenal performance in the Four Nations face-off. Tonight's Jack Buck Awards begin at 8 o'clock. Mr. Bennington will be joined by Jim Hart, the legendary St. Louis Cardinals quarterback, receiving the Bob Plager Legends Award. The Carl O. Bauer Award for Amateur Athletics goes to Maddie Di Maria of Coriezu, the National Player of the Year in girls soccer. Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr., the broadcasters for the St. Louis Billikens, will be honored with the Burns Bragg Award, and the Jack Buck Award goes to the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. We'll find out on Wednesday who gets the Ford Frick Award from the Baseball Hall of Fame. Mr. Rooney is on that list of candidates. Jeff Kent, the modern era, has put him into the Baseball Hall of Fame. More home runs than anyone at second base in history. Matt Pauly's at the winter meetings, and we'll have more from him coming up at 7:45. Billikens played on KMOX yesterday, pounded Central Michigan 107-65. Big day for Kellen Thames, threw down a thunderous dunk over a defender. He had 17 points, 19 for Quentin Jones. Mizzou lost to KU 80-60. Kansas wins in Kansas City. Mizzou will play the Gator Bowl against Virginia on December 27th in Jacksonville. That was announced yesterday. And Illinois now knows its bowl destination, December 30th, in the Music City Bowl in Nashville against Tennessee. The college football playoff bracket was revealed yesterday, and it shows the following. The number 1 overall seed is Indiana. The Big Ten champion will take on the winner of Oklahoma and Alabama in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena on January 1st. Oklahoma, Alabama, the 8-9 seeds, and that game will be played in Norman, Oklahoma. Ohio State gets the number 2 overall seed and also a first-round bye. They'll play the winner of the 7-10 game, Texas A&M hosting Miami. Georgia, the SEC champion, They'll play the winner of the 6-seed Ole Miss and the 11-seed Tulane. And Texas Tech, the champions of the Big 12, get the winner of number 5 Oregon hosting number 12 James Madison. The NFL, it was the Chiefs losing again last night. They fell to the Texans 20-10. The Chiefs are 6-7 on the season, if you can believe it. And the Bears dropped to second in the NFC North after losing at Lambeau Field to the Packers 28-21. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and the Billikens, 104.1 FM KMOX.
I get asked a lot on when's the best time to buy a furnace or an air conditioner, and my response always is, it's with us, it doesn't really matter. I don't mark your prices up because it's cold or it's hot. But with the tax credit that's expiring at the end of the month of December for 2025 and 0% interest on all of our products right now. So you get 0% through the month of December on the majority of what we offer you, furnaces or air conditioners or both. That's a big savings to you. That makes it really, really affordable, not just because it's Christmas or anything like that. It's just if you can eliminate interest, that's a lot of money a month that you save. So if you're in a need for a furnace or a furnace and air, call me. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Or Bart Inman, that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. Merry Christmas and God bless.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
7:20 and time for a check of the roadways and the weather. The Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center is where we find Roger Brandt.
Well, there's still no change on eastbound 70, Debbie. We still have this crash, multiple vehicles involved, just the right shoulder sort of squeezing by eastbound 70 just before you get to Jennings Station Road. And because of that, that's the only jam we have of any consequence, and it is backed up right through Hanley on eastbound 70. Westbound Gawkers are slow at about Goodfellow. South 170, folks are starting to go that way. It's starting to bog down. Not a jam, but it's bunches up in pockets from Ladue down to 64. By the way, eastbound 70 out west, just a little slow, 94 to the Blanchette Bridge. Eastbound 64 coming off 70 up through Prospect, almost to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, kind of busy there. It's a little slow at Clarkson and McKnight through Hanley at the Interbelt. Northbound 270, slow stuff ramping on from 55, Sappington through Gravois, Doherty Ferry up to Ladue's heavy. Northbound 55, a little busy at 67, a little slower. Approaching Butler Hill, we have a car fire on the right shoulder there. It looks like the fire is out, but slow back about midway to Merrimack Bottom, and then Bayless up to River de Pere. Northbound Telegraph north of Christopher up to Pottle looks pretty busy. And on the Illinois side, westbound 6470 split to 3rd Street, seeing some volume. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And AccuWeather's Heather Zaire says we're going to have a cold day today, a high of only 33 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy. Temperatures begin to rise after midnight. We're going to get up to 54 for the high tomorrow. Currently, it's 26 in downtown St. Louis.
That weather sponsored for you by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Missouri's Conservation Department is keeping a close eye on chronic wasting disease, or CWD. That is a fatal neurological disease affecting deer, elk, moose, and others.
Some counties have mandatory sampling and have asked hunters to participate. Jason Isabel tells MissouriNet that only happens the first and second day of November when the season kicks off.
It's a
big effort. We have a lot of staff that work at stations. This year we had 66 stations in 35 counties, and we're very grateful for the cooperation of the hunters. We will often collect 20,000 CWD samples in a couple-day period. We were less than that this year because we had fewer counties that we conducted mandatory sampling in compared to some of the previous years.
This year, some 13,600 samples came to test for chronic wasting disease. Isabel says that a lot of the samples, it helps them understand where the disease is located, where the distribution of CWD is doing through time.
Clearly, we have to know where the disease exists to manage the disease. And so mandatory sampling is one of those important efforts that allows us to collect a lot of samples in a really short period of time. So it's a really efficient way to collect samples.
Isabel says that gives conservation a better handle on it. Now they can manage CWD and keep the herd healthy and keep the infection rates.
We'll work with meat processors and taxidermists, and we have voluntary sampling stations set up all across the state for the entire 4-month deer season. So we're already having some results trickle in from those efforts.
It says that CWD has spread through the years, but the percentage of the samples that have tested positive remain very low.
Over the weekend, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth outlined a new vision for U.S. foreign policy. What do our political consultants think about that?
Well, I mean, it's just wrong.
KMOX Republican analyst John Hancock says Hegseth is tossing aside decades of history where the U.S. has been involved in nation building, democracy, and intervention all over the world. The defense secretary now wants us to focus on our border, the Western Hemisphere, and letting allies fend for themselves.
The vision that Pete Hegseth outlined is a vision of a weakened America, a more unstable world, and a world where foreign autocrats are going to feel free to roam and take and pillage.
Democratic analyst Michael Kelly concurs on what role the U.S. should play in foreign affairs.
It's sad to watch what's happening to our leadership in the world and this idea of just surrendering. I want to be in a world that the United States leads it, not one where we take a back seat.
Kelly and Hancock both believe the Pentagon's recent drug boat attacks near Venezuela have an ulterior motive, regime change in an oil-rich country. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
It's 7:25, Total Information AM on KMOX. Whether you're out buying presents this holiday season, you may come across buy now, pay later options at checkout. Here's Margaret Carrero of KNX Radio in Los Angeles giving us some tips about how to get the most out of paying later for purchases you're making today, and offers up some warnings.
With the holiday season underway, some shoppers may consider using buy now, pay later options. But is that a smart choice for your wallet? Sarah Rathner with NerdWallet tells us businesses could be luring shoppers by adding buy now, pay later services at checkout. Some even have special coupons if you go down that road.
Holidays are a really big shopping season and sort of this canary in a coal mine for how the economy is doing in general. And so they want people to spend, and people are going to spend. So if there are things they can offer to consumers to make spending more enticing or more palatable, they're going to do it.
Rathner says 18% of shoppers are already planning to use the service for holiday gifts, and there are some people using it more than others.
The younger you are, the higher of a chance you have of that being true for you. Gen Z, for example, Gen Z shoppers, we found that 35% of them plan to use buy now, pay later, and a quarter of millennial shoppers, same thing.
She advises that if you use buy now, pay later, you should take the time to review all of your options, try to stick to the 0% APR, and carefully look at all the payment plan options. But financial coach AJ Schneider says shoppers should avoid this service at all costs because it can backfire.
Basically, people are hitting the point, they're maxing out their credit cards. And so they're turning to buy now, pay later because it appears to be free and not charge interest like a credit card does.
She says the best gift this holiday season is staying debt-free.
That means not buying things that you cannot afford. If you cannot afford to pay for it, then it's not worth the pressure and the amount of time you will have to spend either paying it back, being in stress, being overwhelmed around your finances. It's just not worth it.
But if you do decide to go down the buy now, pay later route, Schneider says to make sure you have the money in your account to cover the purchase.
It is now 7:27. The time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
$98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. A great car buying experience should include, just like extra care. When you're buying a car, it's a big deal. It's a big moment in your life. You should be treated well with, all the great coffee and free bottled water and leather couches and experience like you're in a high-end hotel and you're in like a spa lobby and you're in just a first-class experience across the board. You think that's asking too much for buying a car? Not at Genesis of St. Charles, it isn't. The number one Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025, the only standalone Genesis dealership in the state of Missouri, the first one. And I am here to tell you, it is the best car dealership you will walk into. They do it right. They understand. And during their signature event at Genesis of St. Charles, not only will they give you the luxurious experience when you're buying a car, they're going to give you more for your trade. They're going to give you upfront pricing. Just unlock the e-price today at genesisofstcharles.com. Every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis Service Valet. What does that mean? Complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, and a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. I'm telling you, it's the best driving and buying experience you're going to have. Genesis of St. Charles. genesisofstcharles.com.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
In sports, it's the dream team. And if your car is out of warranty, there's a team for that as well. You, the driver, your mechanic, and Endurance to pay for the repair bills. I'm Danica Patrick. In the past 5 years, auto repair costs have gone up over 36%. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all. With an Endurance auto protection plan, no matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done by the certified mechanic of your choice. Plans cover 24/7 towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, and lockout services. Act now and get the benefits of our Elite Plan, a $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again. So call now for your free quote.
Call 800-371-2371. That's 800-371-2371. 800-371-2371.
Hey, it's 7:30, and right now we do have a little bit of sunshine in downtown St. Louis that is peeking through the clouds, 24 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We do have some traffic. Roger Brands of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, we still got our one trouble spot, Tom. In fact, it looks like they're back to having the highway shut down again. That's because of flatbed tow trucks on the scene, and these cars were all bunched up into each other, so they got to get them separated and loaded up. So lanes are all blocked right now. This is eastbound 70 just before Jennings Station. So traffic is a solid jam, pretty much back to the Interbelt. If you want to take the Interbelt, it's busy, but at least it's not jammed. South 170 is slow from Olive on down to 64. By the way, westbound 70, a little gawker backup just from about Goodfellow out to the scene, not too extensive. And eastbound 70 out to the west, you've got some slow traffic, 94 into about Earth City. Southbound 61 getting on to 64 through Prospects, a little busy. It's slow through the Chesterfield Parkways, midway between Lindbergh and the Interbelt, and it runs heavy into about Big Bend. Westbound 64 from Hampton headed out to Hanley, slow. South 270 is just a little busy approaching Ladue. North 270, slow stuff north of 55 through Gravois and Doherty Ferry up to Ladue. Northbound 55, the right lane's still bogged down midway up from Merrimack Bottom to Butler Hill because of that earlier car fire. They had the right lane blocked. It looks like they reopened it, but they just called out the emergency crews again for that scene. And then Bales up the river to Pear is a little slow after that. And westbound 5570 slow from just west of 159 through the Keebler overpass at this time. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be cold today with a high of just 33 degrees, and we should see some sunshine as these clouds move through. Tomorrow, warming up to 54 degrees with intervals of clouds and sunshine. But then Wednesday, while it starts out a little warm, it falls back into the 30s throughout the day. Right now, it's 24 downtown.
A St. Louis man faces felony charges for stealing copper wire from a tornado-damaged school. Police say 27-year-old Ethan Dion Thomas was seen taking 100 pounds of wire from Hickey Elementary School Wednesday. Thomas was found quickly. Police say he also caused thousands of dollars in damage to the school. The school is still working on repairs from the May 16th tornado, and the school is hoping to reopen next August.
State lawmakers questioning whether Missouri schools are being held accountable for underperformance. The state has a new system that measures the performance of each school on things like student growth, test scores, attendance, and graduation rates. Education Commissioner Carla Esslinger says the new system is better and more rigorous than previous efforts.
And the reason that there was a change, and actually part of the, hey, we have to do something different, came from this body, came from some of our legislators, me included, that was saying we can't have 320 schools accredited with distinction.
Esslinger says the state has teams that are working in underperforming schools to improve them.
Webster University hasn't held classes in downtown St. Louis since 2022, but they still lease the first 2 floors of the arcade building on Olive. Now the university is suing its landlord, citing an audit showing Dominium charged them more than $1 million in inflated charges and fees they were not responsible for. According to the Business Journal, Dominium conducted their own audit but did not share the findings. The lawsuit was filed in federal court Friday.
The Plan STL program is on the cusp of unveiling their first neighborhood plan while adding a half dozen new neighborhoods tomorrow. Jonathan Roper with the St. Louis City Planning and Urban Design Agency tells KMOX their neighborhood development plans help the city meet the needs of the residents with certain businesses. However, they are rather open-ended.
Highly detailed as to, hey, you should definitely have, let's say, this type of McDonald's or Starbucks here, but rather, hey, we think community use, coffee shop, dining would be needed here.
College Hill, Fairground Neighborhood, and Penrose are among the neighborhoods the program is expanding into tomorrow.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your Money Minute next.
Buckle up, St. Louis. The hot stove is already blazing as Heim Bloom gets to work. The Blues look to make December one to remember, and we're following every shift. And as KMOX races towards its 100th anniversary, the Gas House Gang celebrates the legendary voices that made it America's sports voice. Big stories, big moments, and the biggest names in St. Louis sports all month long. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon on KMOX.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-999-3339. That's 800-999-3339. Again, that's 800-999-3339.
It is 7:36. Time for your money report, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. President Trump plans to unveil a long-awaited $12 billion aid package for farmers who have been hit hard by low crop prices and the administration's tariff policies. A White House official tells Bloomberg the president will announce the package at an event this afternoon. Farmers have been dealing with a slow ramp-up of Chinese purchases of soybeans and other agricultural products. Checking in on the markets for you, stock futures are little changed this morning. The main event of the week is the Federal Reserve's meeting. An interest rate cut is expected. And shares of Southwest Airlines surged close to 6% on Friday. The carrier cut its profit target for the year, citing the fallout from the government shutdown. However, the airline says bookings have recovered after a temporary slowdown. Last week, Delta said it took a $200 million hit from having more than 20,000 flight cancellations during the government shutdown. Courtney Dunhope, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Barnes Jewish Hospital and WashU Medicine physicians have long been leaders in heart and vascular care. Now, we're taking the patient experience to another level by opening our new state-of-the-art patient tower, designed specifically with heart patients in mind. By combining the latest technology with thoughtful design and private rooms, heart patients can experience faster healing, reduced stress, and improved outcomes. Learn more at barnesjewish.org/heart.
Banner Construction. Home restoration has a lot of choices, but the biggest choice is, who do you trust with your most valuable asset, your home? You do not want to hire a company that cuts corners, does the job, siding or windows, does a poor job, and there's no way for you to go back. Go with Banner Construction. Since 1993, few companies have been able to match Banner's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. Banner is a certified Pella window specialist. That means they do the job right. They're dedicated to pairing high-end products with high-end craftsmanship. They've been doing this for over 30 years now, and Banner's design team will show you many creative options to enhance your home's new restoration. Please take some time to visit bannerconstruction.com and see for yourself. They have great examples of all the homes they've done in the St. Louis area. It's a very good website, bannerconstruction.com, or you can call them. Tell them I sent you over, 314-569-1050. 314-569-1050, and have a banner day.
This is Kyle Bush with Prince Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. Life changes, divorce, loss of a loved one, or an inheritance. It can be overwhelming. We provide the resources, long-standing support, and thoughtful guidance you need to plan ahead. With our help and experience, you don't have to navigate these transitions alone. You can move forward with greater clarity and confidence. Your goals, our mission, start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services. Member FINRA/SIPC. Prince Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. Thanks to supporters like you, children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach incredible milestones. Please donate today at treeofhope.org.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
I'm Tom Ackerman. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
It is 7:40. Hey, let's get you caught up on traffic and weather. The sun is back downtown, so it's going to be one of those mornings. We'll get more on the forecast coming up in just a moment, but here's Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our trouble on Highway 70 eastbound, Debbie. It's still shut down while they load up these cars from the crash. Eastbound 70 at Jennings Station. Eastbound 70 is a solid jam back to 170, and a lot of folks are taking the Interbelt now. There are delays south of the Rock Road, heavy pockets down to 64. It's not jammed solid like 70 is, but it's certainly a lot busier. Westbound 70, Riverview out through Jennings Station. Everybody's slowing for a look. South 270, south of 364 down to 64 is busy. Eastbound 64 is slow coming out of the valley. Andy Guns to about Timberlake. Backs up briefly at Lindbergh, but it's slow all the way to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton out to Big Bend is heavy. Northbound 270 is a ramp on from 55. Periodic slowdowns to 44. And then north of Big Bend all the way up to Ladue. North 55, the right lane's still busy. Butler Hill up to 270. Backed up Bayless up to River to Pear. Westbound 64 slow crossing the Poplar. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Looks like autumn has arrived, and all fall long, a Metro Transit Day Pass is still just $5, which makes you just one click away from your one-day mental health fall getaway. Plan your trip at metrostlouis.org.
Well, Heather's there. Autumn's arrived, all right, and winter, too. It is a little bit of everything this week here in St. Louis.
It certainly is. We're going to have just one day where we have temperatures that are above average. The rest of them are not just going to be below average, but below by quite a bit. And today is one of those. It's already cold this morning. We're starting off in the 20s. Clouds, though, are going to give way to some sunshine. So at least the day is going to brighten up some. We're going to head up to about 33 degrees. Partly cloudy for tonight, the low 29 early, and then temperatures begin to rise after midnight. They're going to be all the way up to 54 tomorrow with some sun. And even though it's going to be breezy, that it's not going to make it nearly as cold as today. Windy and colder, though, for Wednesday. Clouds break for some sun, but after a morning high of 46, temperatures fall back into the upper 30s. The high is only 38, and there's a chance for a little snow or flurries on Thursday. A lot of that, though, probably passes north of St. Louis, and we just still have a chance for a snow shower with a high of 33 on Friday. Right now, it's 24 in St. Peters, 23 in Florissant, and 25 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Heather Zare with AccuWeather on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:43. Sylvester Stallone, Kiss, and Gloria Gaynor among the luminaries celebrated at the annual Kennedy Center Honors. President Trump hosting the Sunday night gala in Washington, D.C. It is a presidential first for that. Since returning to office in January, Trump has made big changes to the Performing Arts Institution, ousting its leadership, putting himself in as chair. The honorees were being recognized for their influence on American culture and the arts. It was expected to be emotional for KISS members after the recent death of their original lead guitarist, Ace Frehley.
Nominees for the 83rd Annual Golden Globes will be announced on CBS Mornings today. CBS's Stacey Lynn on some of the top contenders.
For TV, The Studio,
Being the head of Continental is the only job I've ever wanted.
Severance,
Hello, my name is Mark S.
and The Pit are heavily favored again, along with newcomer Pluribus.
Good morning, Carol.
On the big screen, critics like comedies Marty Supreme and One Battle After Another.
This is Bob Ferguson.
For dramas, they expect Hamnet
Who are you looking for?
William Shakespeare.
and Sinners
I ain't ever seen no demon.
to get the nod. The 2026 Golden Globes are on January 11th on CBS and Paramount+. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Chess is tough. Holding your breath underwater, though, is tougher. Put them together and you get diving chess. One of the strangest competitions around. Sport started in London in 2012, has now spread across Europe with a new exhibition this week in Cape Town ahead of the Freestyle Chess Grand Slam finals. Even American Grandmaster Hans Niemann showed up, proving that in 2025, chess drama can literally go underwater.
I realized that I actually could spend more time underwater. Like it's a moment just taking my time because I could hold my breath. I felt comfortable. Also putting pressure on my opponents, moving quickly, anticipating their move, looking down so I could immediately make their move. So I just put some pressure, played well, and everything went swellingly. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it.
I wonder what the World Chess Hall of Fame in St. Louis has to say about that. If they would accept that as a...
Install a tank in the basement.
Yeah.
Do some underwater chess there.
I wouldn't put it past them. They're pretty amazing. So, as you know, 7:45. Let's start things off with KMOX's Matt Pauley. He is covering things in Orlando for us at MLB's winter meeting.
As baseball's winter meetings get underway, the Cardinals' contingent of executives, led by President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom, are expected to be very busy. While trade talks will be a large part of the work done, Bloom tells KMOX on Sunday morning that there is value in just having the group together.
If there's transactions that you're working on or you're talking through, you're going to buckle down and work on those first and foremost. But there are other times that you might be able to just get some connections built between people. And when you're sitting in a room together for what feels like 24/7 for a couple of days, you want to build those connections, build that free flow of conversation, that communication. We are going to have our manager, a couple members of our major league staff in there, and they'll be able to be around some people that they don't spend every day with, and vice versa. So we're hoping to actually get a jump on some things as far as planning for spring training and just some of the things we want to sharpen the saw on, do a little bit better in 26 than we did in 25.
Manager Oliver Marmol is scheduled to meet with the media this afternoon, and Bloom will meet with local media each night of the winter meetings. In Orlando at baseball's winter meetings, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
It was announced yesterday at the winter meetings that Jeff Kent has received induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Most home runs by a second baseman. Will await word on the Ford Frick Award. John Rooney is one of the nominees for that. MLB's winter meetings live on KMOX tonight from 6 to 8. Then we'll go to the Jack Buck Awards at 8 o'clock tonight. Rooney is receiving the Jack Buck Award. Bob Ramsey, Earl Austin Jr., receiving the Burns Bragg Award. Maddie D. Maria, the National Player of the Year in girls soccer, the Carl O. Bauer Award, the Bob Plager Legends Award going to Cardinals quarterback Jim Hart, and Jordan Bennington receives the Sports Personality of the Year Award at the MAC tonight At the Jack Buck Awards, Bennington, with his phenomenal run to the playoffs last season and a win for Canada in the Four Nations face-off. Blues won last night thanks to Bennington and others. A 4-3 win at Montreal. Bennington made 23 saves in that victory. To college basketball.
He wants to drive, the runner, the jam time! Oh my gosh! Oh baby! That is an unbelievable dunk over the defender. McCautry, the lob to Kellen Thames.
Kellen Thames with 17 points as the Billikens crushed Central Michigan at Chaffetz Arena yesterday, 107-65. Mizzou lost to KU in Kansas City, 80-60. Kansas gets the win. Missouri finds out it will play Virginia in the Gator Bowl December 27th. Illinois gets Tennessee in the Music City Bowl on December 30th. The college football playoff bracket has Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech 1 through 4 receiving first-round byes. Number 1 Indiana gets the winner of the 8-9 game, Oklahoma and Alabama. Ohio State plays the winner of Texas A&M and Miami. Georgia gets the winner of Ole Miss and Tulane, and Texas Tech, the Big 12 champ, gets the winner of Oregon and James Madison. Chiefs fell to 6-7 with a loss last night on KMOX, 20-10 to the Texans. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina, your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
For nearly half a century, Jack Buck was the unmistakable sound of St. Louis. His warm storytelling and unforgettable calls transformed baseball on the radio. From Cardinals championships to the everyday heartbeat of the season, Jack's voice became part of life in St. Louis.
It's the great American pastime, baseball. It's not just a game invented for athletes who can run from home to first in 4 seconds. It's a game made for kids and played by kids.
Beyond baseball, he was a full-range broadcaster. Buck hosted the station's At Your Service and Sports Open Line programs. He was a storyteller whose humor and humility resonated with fans far beyond the ballpark. Jack Buck, a KMOX pioneer.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to Enterprise Center December 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefits Sightman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. TSO, timeless and everlasting. Don't miss the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Lost Christmas Eve, produced by Live Nation. For more details, KMOX.com/events.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:51. We've got some sunshine downtown. Looks like the clouds have moved out, at least for now. More on the forecast in just a moment. Let's check the roadways with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, no change as of yet, Debbie, on eastbound Highway 70. It's still shut down. It was shut down for a bit, then they were letting the right shoulder through. Now they're shut down again while they have flatbeds to try to clear the crash. It's eastbound 70 at Jennings Station. A solid jam back through 170. Westbound 70 gawkers on the brakes at Riverview. South 170 is starting to slow from south of Scudder down to 70 because of the merge. So you can't make the merge on very easily. And then there's slow pockets south of Natural Bridge all the way down to 64. So busy on South 170, but not jammed as an alternate route right now. Southbound 270 Dorset down through 364 is busy. South of Olives to 64 is slow. If you're on northbound 270, north of 55 through Gravois and 44 all the way up to Ladou's, busy. Eastbound 64 backs up east of Boone's Crossing through Clarkson. Slow stuff from Ballas all the way through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 Science Center headed out through Bellevue's pretty busy. North 55 from the Union Road overpass almost all the way up to Virginia's heavy. And westbound 64 a little slow from 3rd Street to the Poplar. Eastbound 64 backed up at 157. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather today is going to be chilly, a high of 33 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 29 early, rising after midnight. Tomorrow, we get up to 54 in the afternoon. It's 27 right now.
The news continues at 7:52. Waymo, the ride-hailing service coming to St. Louis, faces new fallout over its self-driving taxis because they apparently don't stop for school buses as the law requires. We get more from CBS News transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
It's happened again and again in Austin, Texas. Police say it's happened at least 20 times since August. Self-driving Waymos caught on school bus cameras appearing to ignore the bus's flashing red lights and stop signs here as kids are crossing. The latest incident last week came after Waymo said it had installed a software update to address the issue.
It's not fixed. That's the short answer. It's not fixed.
Authorities are looking for the last of 3 inmates who escaped from a Louisiana jail in the middle of last week.
The on-the-run 24-year-old inmate had been in the St. Landry Parish Jail on a charge of second-degree murder. He's one of 3 prisoners who escaped from the lockup after removing concrete blocks from a deteriorating wall. One of the other escapees was recaptured, while the third killed himself when a tip helped police locate him at a residence. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
China's trade surplus tops $1 trillion as its exports surge while imports lag behind. We get more from the AP's Lisa Dwyer.
China's exports returned to growth in November after an unexpected contraction in October, pushing its trade surplus for 2025 past the 1 trillion mark for the first time. Exports climbed 5.9% from a year earlier, while imports rose just under 2%. Customs data also shows that shipments to the U.S. dropped nearly 29% year on year. As trade with the U.S. weakens, China is diversifying its export markets throughout Southeast Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America. With exports still going strong, economists generally expect China to meet its economic growth target of around 5% for this year.
It's a growing danger on the highways. Drivers who ignore recalls. Jeff Gilbert reports.
About 22% of vehicles that have recently been recalled for non-deploying airbags have not yet been fixed. A Wall Street Journal analysis found 12 people have died because of that. Government safety officials say they can order a car maker to issue a recall, but they cannot order an owner to comply.
The name of the 39-year-old man shot multiple times in the 5800 block of St. Louis Avenue last week has been released. Jamel Harlan died from his injuries on Friday. Police say the suspect called 911 claiming to be the shooter. He told police he was in the 2700 block of Goodfellow. Police responded and took the 30-year-old caller into custody.
It's 7:55.
I'm Sean Malone. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
McKelvey Homes is excited to introduce our newest community, the Reserve at Wildwood, a premier development located on 50 acres at the southwest corner of 109 and 100 in the heart of Wildwood. This community will offer a stunning collection of homes from the Liberty 2-car, the Liberty 3-car, the Designer Series, all designed with the high-quality craftsmanship and style that McKelvey Homes is known for. The Reserve at Wildwood is more than just a place to live. It's a place to thrive. We're talking about outdoor living, rain gardens, walking trails, scenic green spaces, an active and connected lifestyle, but also a charming suburban atmosphere with easy access to the Wildwood Town Center, Rockwood's Reservation, Babbler State Park, dining, shopping, entertainment options, the top-rated Rockwood School District, the Reserve at Wildwood, just a perfect blend of luxury living and natural beauty. You can join the VIP interest list by going to McKelveyHomes.com. Very easy to do. You can call or text the online sales consultant right there. It's McKelveyHomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. This Christmas holiday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Christmas holiday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. For 43 days, the left kept the government closed, holding the American people hostage and demanding radical policy changes, including free health care for illegal immigrants. However, thanks to strong Republican leadership, the Senate voted to reopen the government and put America first. I'm thrilled to return to Washington so I can continue to vote to help Missourians, to secure our nation's borders, and to cut wasteful spending. Visit onder.house.gov to find the office closest to you.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Let's check in with Roger Brand at 7:58, and he's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're back to letting the right lane through, so they're making progress with this crash, Debbie, eastbound 70 at Jennings Station. But again, it's still a solid jam all the way back to 170, south 170, south of Scudder down to 70, slow, and then from Natural Bridge all the way down to 64. It's busy as an alternate route. Westbound 70 from almost Kings Highway headed out through Jennings Station is pretty busy. South 270, Dorset down to Ladue is busy. North 270, bogs down approaching Gravois all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 64, east of 270 all the way in through Big Bend is slow. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, the typical delays. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's chilly out there, but the sun has come out. It's 27 degrees at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman. Young people aren't immersed in the news in the way older generations were. Megan Lynch will talk with Pew researchers next hour.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. If you want to give your time this holiday, we'll tell you how you can connect with an agency that needs a few extra hands.
Experts say they're seeing a rise in female hackers.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra has started its holiday concerts, and we'll get to meet the principal horn player.
Matt Pauley is covering Major League Baseball's winter meetings. Chris Rangi and I will have him on the Gas House Gang at noon. We look forward to that. Megan Lynch is next.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The Supreme Court is gearing up to hear arguments today on President Trump's power to fire agency heads after he dismissed the Democratic-appointed head of the Federal Trade Commission. Correspondent Jan Crawford is in Washington.
The 1914 law that established the FTC says commissioners can only be removed by the president for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance in office. At issue now is whether Congress can prohibit the president from removing members of the FTC without cause.
President Trump says he'll sign an order to block states from regulating artificial intelligence. Posting to Truth Social this morning, he says there must, quote, be only one rule book if we're going to lead on AI. Otherwise, the president says it will be destroyed in its infancy. The ride-hailing service Waymo is facing new fallout over self-driving taxis that don't stop for school buses, like the law requires. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
In Austin, Texas, police say it's happened at least 20 times since August. Self-driving Waymos caught on school bus cameras appearing to ignore the bus's flashing red lights and stop signs here as kids are crossing. The latest incident last week came after Waymo said it had installed a software update to address the issue.
The Golden Globe nominations have just been announced on CBS.
This is the end of the line. Not for you.
One battle after another, with Leonardo DiCaprio leads the race with 9. The Norwegian family dramedy Sentimental Value follows with 8, then Sinners and Hamnet. Wicked, which was not nominated for Best Picture, ties with Frankenstein with 5 nominations. Not among Wicked's nods, Best Picture, Fandango's Eric Davis.
It did great at the box office. It was nominated in the Cinematic and Box Office Achievement category, which it won last year. So I think it has a chance to win here. I think Ariana could win. I think Cynthia could win. But I agree. I think this is probably one of the bigger snubs of the morning.
The awards will be handed out January 11th on CBS and Paramount Plus. Are you a Buddy fan?
Santa's coming to town. Oh my God! Santa here? I know him.
His cute little green outfit with the yellow tights has gone to the highest bidder in the UK. CBS's Vicky Barker has details from London.
The film prop auction house Prop Store says the elf costume that sold was one of only a handful made for the 2003 film. It came from the personal collection of producer John Berg. A cat figure used for the 1993 animated film Nightmare Before Christmas fetched $11,000.
Dow futures are up 19. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Take the next step forward in your career with great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have partly sunny skies, 24 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, December 8th. I'm Megan Lynch. It appears Kim Gardner, former St. Louis Circuit Attorney, might be looking at disbarment.
Gardner is now being accused of additional misconduct. Officials will hear the case this week. In 2022, Gardner was accused of misconduct in how she handled the prosecution of former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens. Missouri Supreme Court ruled, though, a reprimand was in order and that she must pay back more than $5,000. Gardner admitted that she used the public funds to pay the $5,000. The group that prosecutes and investigates attorneys' misconduct is the Office of Chief Disciplinary Counsel, and they believe that was yet another ethics violation from Gardner. But Gardner's attorneys argue she's never been indicted, charged, or even appeared in court. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The search is over for a man accused of shooting a Granite City police officer. Police Chief Gary Brooks says officers were called to the 2000 block of Johnson for an unwanted person.
Immediately upon arrival, they encountered a subject who began firing shots at our officers, and then the subject fled on foot.
Brooks says one officer was shot multiple times. They believe he will make a full recovery after a lengthy manhunt. The suspect, 26-year-old DJ Marshall, was arrested around 3 Saturday morning in Granite City. A local pet clinic assessing damage after a vehicle crashed into its building on South Jefferson.
The collision caused a large hole in the brick wall of Carroll House Quick Fix Pet Clinic. 3 vehicles the organization uses for various outreach programs and pet transportation were damaged. The vehicle that went through that wall went into the community cat room. 9 cats are receiving care. The clinic now faces unexpected costs to repair the building and replace the vehicles. There's a donation page that has been set up for anyone wishing to help the clinic recover and continue providing the care that they have. You can find that at KMOX.com. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Kristen Parr, Director of Standards and Instruction at the Illinois State Board of Education, says a grant program to find and keep teachers in understaffed districts is bringing results in just its second year.
We support a large number of dollars going towards career and technical education. We also have a teacher apprenticeship program.
There's been another recall of milk.
This time, it's Prairie Farms fat-free milk, sold in Illinois and Wisconsin. Quote, food-grade cleaning products, close quote, which can make you ill if ingested, are possibly in the milk. Also, a certain number of Ritz peanut butter cracker sandwiches were recalled in a number of states. The sandwiches may be incorrectly labeled as the cheese variety, resulting in an unclear peanut allergen. Missouri is amongst the states where the incorrectly labeled Ritz sandwiches may have been distributed. For more information, go to health.com. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
It is a war crime. It's illegal. However you put it, it's all illegal.
Democratic Senator and combat veteran Tammy Duckworth tells CNN the double tap boat strike against a Venezuelan drug boat in the Caribbean was a war crime.
I've been shot down behind enemy lines. Under the laws of war, if a pilot bails out, he gets shot down, he bails out, he's in a rubber dinghy in the middle of the ocean. Under all the international laws of warfare, you are supposed to help render aid to that individual. Even if they have a radio and they're calling for their side to come pick them up, you're not allowed to go back in and kill them.
The Trump administration says the strike was necessary to protect the country. Officials insist the operation removed an imminent threat from international waters.
The fact is, these cartels now, because the southern border is closed, they've gone to the high seas.
That's Senator Eric Schmidt on ABC justifying the U.S. strikes by the Trump administration on what they call narco-terrorists.
So President Trump is acting with his core Article 2 powers. No serious legal expert would doubt that the president has authority to blow narco-terrorists out of the water who are poisoning 100,000 Americans every year.
Schmidt says President Trump has been delegated the authority by Congress to designate terrorist organizations, which he has done. From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, Webster University hasn't held classes in downtown St. Louis since 2022, but they still lease the first 2 floors of the arcade building on Olive. Now the university is suing its landlord, citing an audit showing Dominium charged them more than $1 million in inflated charges and fees they weren't responsible for. According to the Business Journal, Dominium conducted its own audit but did not share the findings. That lawsuit was filed in federal court. We'll get a check of traffic and weather coming up in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
Hey, just check the mail. We've been invited to a seminar and dinner is free.
It's going to be chicken, and it'll taste like Play-Doh.
Don't be fooled. All seminars are not the same. For example, Steve All, an investment advisor representative and founder of the All Financial Group, is hosting a taxes and retirement seminar at his office in Chesterfield on December 10th. Come meet Steve's newest advisor, Tracy Richardson, as she discusses the big beautiful bill, taxes on your Social Security, and more. Tracy will not only cover the hurdles you can face in retirement, but ways to keep more money in your pocket and less in Uncle Sam's. This is a complimentary event, but seating is limited, so reserve your seat today. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
You know, hon, I've always been interested in us buying a timeshare.
I'd rather eat Play-Doh.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Windows specialist. With winter, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation or the website bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
8:10. Let's check the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news for eastbound 70 drivers, Megan. They cleared the crash we had at Jennings Station. Eastbound 70, though, is still backed up with a Blanchette Bridge in through almost to 270, and then a solid jam approaching 170 into about Bermuda, between Bermuda and Lucas Hunt. It's opening up on eastbound 70. It impacted south 170. You're backed up approaching Airport Road down to 70, trying to merge onto the eastbound ramp. If you're going to stick with 170, it's slow from just Olive now, and just a brief backup Brentwood to 64 at the bottom end of it there. South 270, south of 364, down through Olive is busy. North 270, let's call it gravel up to Ladue, slow. Eastbound 64, still slow stretches from 270 into Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley's busy. Northbound 55 from Bayless all the way up through Virginia. And westbound 64 just a little slow at the Poplar for Illinois drivers right now. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Clouds will be followed by some sun today, but it's cold with a high of 33. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 29 early before temperatures begin to rise. Tomorrow turning breezy and not as cold with clouds and sun at a high of 54, but windy and turning colder on Wednesday. Clouds followed by some sun with temperatures falling into the upper 30s. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Mostly cloudy this morning, 23 degrees in Florissant, 25 in St. Peters, and we have 24 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Megan Lynch. You're listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I have been in the news business since the early 90s, so I'm always interested in learning the ways that people use the news. Well, our next guest researches that very thing. Michael Lipka is Associate Director of Research for Pew Research Center. Michael, thanks for joining me this morning.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Your latest research and analysis looks at some of the youngest group of U.S. adults and how they use news, interact with it, and look at its role in their daily lives. So I'm really curious what some of the big takeaways were from that first off.
Yeah, I mean, we've been noticing some differences with this group for a number of years now. So we wanted to kind of just take a step back and look at all of our research from the last couple of years and, look at this group, which we defined this young adult group as, adults under 30, so 18 to 29 years old. And there were a few big things that jumped out. One is that this group is much less likely to actively follow or sort of intentionally seek out the news. There's sort of a big difference there between the young adults and older age groups on this topic. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're not getting news. They're much more likely to say that the news they get, they happen to come across it, which we sort of call incidental news exposure or passive news consumption or something like that. So that's one big difference. Another one is, where they're getting news. Of course, digital devices are a dominant source of news for a lot of Americans, especially so for young adults. But the thing that really stands out is social media. That's the area where young adults are much more likely than older people to say that they're regularly getting news. And then that goes along with trust as well. So young adults are a bit more likely to say they trust the information that they see on social media sites, and they're a little bit less likely to say that they trust the information from news organizations. And the striking finding there is that the numbers are almost exactly the same. About half of young adults, adults under 30, say that they trust the information that they get from social media sites, and it's almost the exact same number in terms of the share who say that they trust the information that they get from national news organizations.
And when you say that the way they get the news is more incidental, it makes me think of, okay, for example, my parents, we got newspapers and they sat down and they poured through those newspapers. So I guess that's more of an intentional way. So it is kind of through these social media feeds that are popping up. They're just getting things sporadically as they come across their feed.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously a number of different ways you can get news, incidentally. Of course, we're all sort of bombarded with information all the time these days on our devices, pop-up notifications, we're getting email newsletters, we're hearing things just out in the world. But yeah, social media certainly seems to be a big source of this, where, a lot of young people say that they're not on social media to get the news, right? They have other reasons for being there, whether that's entertainment, whether that's connecting with friends, things like that. But there's a lot of news in that space, and we know that they are getting exposed to news in that space, and it's different kinds of news and information. It's things like humor, it's things like opinion content, and there is some there are news organizations there as well, and there are traditional news articles popping up in those places too. But it's a lot of different types of things.
I've always found it interesting, for example, the infographics that I see on some of these social media sites, and I think, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm curious, what are some of the biggest platforms on social media that this youngest generation uses?
Yeah, I mean, the two that really stand out in terms of not necessarily that the largest numbers of people are there, but in terms of the difference between younger people and older people, are Instagram and TikTok. Those are the two places where there's sort of a huge difference between the share of young adults who say that they're getting news in these spaces and the share of older adults who say they're getting news in these spaces. There are young adults other places. Certainly YouTube and Facebook are kind of the two biggest destinations for news among the social media sites in the United States. But those are a little bit more spread out across the age groups, whereas Instagram and TikTok seem to be the places where young people are disproportionately.
Is there any difference in the topics that young adults are viewing when it comes to news content?
Yeah, I mean, traditional sort of hard news topics, politics, things like that, we sort of see the same pattern when it comes to news in general, which is that young people are less likely to say they're following these things. But there is one big exception to that, and that's entertainment news. Young people are more likely than older people to say that they're, getting news about entertainment. And sports is another one where the gap is pretty small. So you sort of have this pattern where younger people are less likely than older people to be getting some of the more traditional hard news topics and maybe a little bit more likely to get some of the softer news.
Mike, when it comes to the reasons why younger adults may follow the news less closely, did you drill down into that? Did you get any sense of what's behind it?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, it's a really hard question to answer just because there's so many variables and so many factors. And sometimes people, when we survey people, they don't necessarily have they haven't thought about these things necessarily. They can't really even, offer explanations for their own behavior. A lot of these, I think, are just big societal generational shifts in the way that people are interacting with the world and technology and things like that. But one thing that did pop up is that, we ask about how the news makes people feel, right? We ask about emotions related to the news because we're really curious about whether people are feeling, burned out by all the news these days or other sorts of negative emotions. And we do find that the negative emotions tend to be more common than the positive ones in terms of reactions to news, and whether that's, feeling confused, feeling scared, angry, these sorts of things. And some of these emotions are more common among younger adults than among older adults. So that is one potential explanation.
So taking all this together, and as you said, you've studied this in depth. What are some of your big takeaways from this? What hit you as significant?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pinpoint one thing. I think the big thing that we just keep coming back to is that, the news environment is changing for better or worse, right? And we're not really here to say whether it's better or worse. We're just sort of trying to document what's going on. I think people have to come to terms with the fact that the news environment has sort of fractured so much. As you said, there, in past generations, there used to be people would pick up the newspaper, they would maybe turn on the evening news, and those were the sort of ways that people got news. And now there's just so many different avenues for people to get news, information. The line between what is news, what isn't news has blurred. So it's just kind of a new world out there that I think we have yet to sort of see what the implications of that will be for the future of our society. But it is a new world. It's not, we're not going back to the old world. And this young generation is sort of evidence of the direction things are moving.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed the conversation.
That is Michael Lipka with Pew Research Center joining us this morning here on KMOX. And coming up on Total Information AM, want to give your time this holiday? We'll tell you how you can connect with agencies that need a few extra hands. First, though, let's get a check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, we got a new trouble spot now, Megan, on the inner belt. This traffic reports a service of 4 Pretty Paws. It's southbound 170 at Scudder, a crash in the left lanes here, jammed back to Airport Road. The jam on eastbound 70 getting a lot better. It is still jammed from 170 through Hanley, but then it's opening up. The earlier problem was the crash at the Jennings Station. Eastbound 70 still backed up from 5th Street to a crash just east of our city, so that one's still an issue, a lane block there as well. Eastbound 64, a little slow through Spady, and then east of Lindbergh through the inner belt. The inner belt, the southbound run, so once you get past Scudder, is still slow at Olive and backed up from the Parkway to 64. Westbound 64 Hampton out through Big Bend's busy. North 270 north of Big Bend up through to Ladue is still kind of slow as well. Since 2018, 4 Pretty Paws Mobile Pet Spa has provided stress-free one-on-one grooming right at your doorstep. Convenient, personal, and trusted. Book your holiday appointment at 4prettypaws.com. Now serving Southern Illinois. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking the forecast for today, clouds giving way to some sunshine today, a high of 33 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 29. And then tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun, breezy and not as cold in the afternoon. We'll reach a high around 54 degrees. Right now, cloudy 24 downtown at the Arch.
It's Tom Ackerman. Tonight's the big night. The Missouri Athletic Club, the 56th Jack Buck Awards at the MAC, live on KMOX at 8 o'clock. We will have some big names in the house. We're going to have Jordan Bennington, Blues goaltender, the Sports Personality of the Year for his outstanding 2025 Four Nations Face-Off winner for Canada. Led the Blues to the playoffs at the end of last season, and a nice win last night, for that matter. Jordan Bennington, presented by Mike Liute. He broke his record for games played and wins as a Blues goaltender. Jim Hart, the legendary Big Red quarterback, he will receive the Bob Plager Legends Award tonight. Maddie DiMaria, the Carl O. Bauer Award for the National Player of the Year in girls soccer. And some of our broadcasters, John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, receives the Jack Buck Award, and Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. the Carl O. Bauer Award at the MAC tonight at 8 o'clock.
Great news, Nick. Legacy boxes are still in stock. With Christmas just around the corner, there's still time to buy the best Christmas gift ever. Legacy Box.
That's right, Adam. Order today and Legacy Box ships immediately. It'll arrive ready to wrap and place under the tree.
Gather the family together this Christmas and collect all your old VHS and camcorder tapes, slides, pictures, and film reels. Then you can binge on the good old days.
From fading over time to risks like fire and water damage, your memories aren't protected unless they're on a digital format. Legacy Box helps you replay those great moments from the past, from Christmas morning to your wedding day.
Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos. All the work is done right here in the USA, and over 1 million customers have trusted Legacy Box.
This Christmas is the time to digitize. Visit legacybox.com/value for exclusive holiday savings. That's legacybox.com/value for last-minute shopping. legacybox.com/value.
This holiday season, when you get them STIHL, batteries are included. Buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit stihlusa.com for gift ideas and seasonal savings. Happy holidays from STIHL. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
You may be looking to give of your time and yourself this holiday instead of just giving gifts. Rick Skinner is head of the United Way of Greater St. Louis Volunteer Center. He joins me now. Rick, thank you so much for being with me this morning.
It was our pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
How do you gather all these volunteer opportunities for people?
Well, our volunteer center has a wonderful history of working with so many partner organizations across our region, both those that are United Way safety net agencies, as well as other organizations that might not receive funding from United Way, but have dynamic volunteer programs. So we are connected with so many organizations in Missouri and in Illinois that are seeking volunteers for the holiday season, as well as year-round.
How hard is it for some of these agencies to try to reach out and find that help themselves?
There's always a need for volunteers, families and individuals who have time to, make a difference and make an impact in the community, whether it's just a one-time experience or something that's more ongoing, like being a mentor or a tutor that would be a longer-term experience. So many organizations, including United Way, depend on volunteers to make critical decisions and helping meet critical community needs all year round. And it's great to have a resource where you can find opportunities at a keystroke based on whatever you're interested in, your availability, the skills you might want to learn or that you might want to impart. It's so great to make a difference by volunteering.
I think a lot of people worry when they go to volunteer for something that it's going to be a huge commitment or, they're going to have to sign on for months and months. Is that the case with these opportunities that you have?
We have a wide variety of opportunities on stlvolunteer.org, both those that can be accomplished within just a short amount of time or something that's more long-term. Absolutely, the organizations provide lots of training and lots of information so that families and volunteers can feel confident on whatever activity they're doing, whether that's putting together a holiday gift basket or helping repackage food for distribution to food pantries across our region, or serving at a holiday-related event. There's so many different ways to make a difference, and we want to make sure that volunteers and families have an easy resource to find exactly what you're looking for.
Now, a lot of people have helped with the storm recovery efforts, after the tornadoes that ripped through the area in the spring. Has that changed any way that you have done things with volunteers?
Many volunteers are still needed in the long-term recovery of the May tornado that our region experienced. And volunteers are so critical to make sure that people that need resources, whether that is food or other basic needs, or volunteers just helping to reorganize and repackage food donations in all different types of ways to make a difference. That's going to be an ongoing opportunity. And those opportunities are also posted on United Way's resource, which is stlvolunteer.org.
I was just going to ask you that. I'm sure people have been listening to this and they're like, okay, where do we go? So could you give that to our listeners again?
Sure, you can find the United Way Volunteer Holiday Guide at stlvolunteer.org. The direct address is stlvolunteer.org/HVG, which stands for Holiday Volunteer Guide. And you'll find all different types of opportunities to make a difference this holiday season and year round as well, too, whether it's helping at a holiday event or there's opportunities to help at food pantries and even opportunities you can accomplish at home or virtually to make a difference without having to leave your front door. So there's lots of ideas on that resource.
Rick, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
That is Rick Skinner, Vice President of the Volunteer Center for the United Way of Greater St. Louis. It's now 8:27. Still ahead on Total Information AM. The Golden Globe nominations were announced this morning. We'll get more from CBS News entertainment reporter Matt Wolf coming up. It is now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
We're winding down the year. We're in the holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. With the end of the year coming, also means there is still available a $600 tax credit on certain furnaces, which is a huge advantage to us. You could either give it to the government and they can spend it on seeing how grass grows, or you could keep it and put it into a furnace for your house, which you worked very hard for. It's your money. That's what a tax credit is. So if you're paying federal taxes, $600 comes back to you that you can put into a furnace to the end of December. So if you need a furnace, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Only. Merry Christmas and God bless.
8:30, time to check the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our trouble spots out there, Megan. This traffic reports a service to the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Only the right through lane and right exit lane now are open past the crash, the injured crash, obviously, because the fire crew's on the scene. Southbound 170 at Scudder. South 170 is backed up through Airport Road, and then the center lanes are still blocked by that earlier crash as well. Eastbound 70 between Earth City and 270. Traffic's jammed back across the Blanchette Bridge for that one. Natural Bridge, by the way, is backed up east of a Hanley all the way into Lucas Hunt. That was an alternate route for 70, and it never recovered, or at least it hasn't yet, when we had the crash at Jennings Station. South 170 slows at Olive, backs up at the Parkway. Eastbound 64, McKnight into Big Bend's heavy. Westbound 64, slow Hampton to Hanley. North 270, Doherty Ferry up to Ladue, just kind of busy along that run. Next updated at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we've got clouds this morning. We should see some sunshine later today. Expect a high only around 33 degrees. Right now, we've got cloudy skies, 24 downtown at the Arch. Golden Globe nominations announced this morning. Let's get the highlights from CBS News entertainment reporter Matt Wolf. Matt, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, Megan, good morning. Exciting morning, right?
It is. It sounds like there were some surprises, though.
There were several, in and out, but I got to tell you, it's just one of these mornings where you're like, you look at the Golden Globes and there's so many different categories and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got this category here, that, musical or comedy, drama, that sort of thing. But I got to tell you, what the big headline is here is one battle after another. This is a movie that has been getting a lot of groundswell, especially in the last couple of weeks. Just yesterday, it won all sorts of awards at the LA Critics Awards. It's with Leonardo DiCaprio, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who got nominated today for Best Director for a Golden Globe, Best Motion Picture Drama as well. Not that it's a surprise, but I think you're going to see this is going to be the big, sort of taker at the Golden Globes. And the Globes also kind of an indicator, too, is what we might be able to see for the Oscars coming up as well.
What about Wicked? There's been a lot of buzz about it.
So Wicked for Good, it's killing it at the box office, right? But there's this weird thing happening with Wicked right now. The critics like it, but they don't exactly love it. Now, Cynthia Erivo, she's been nominated for Best Supporting Actress in a Musical, so that's not to take anything away from her. Again, Wicked doing great at the box office. It's doing all right with awards, but I don't expect anything, and it's not going to come to a dead stop. I'm sure it's going to be nominated for some Academy Awards as well.
As you mentioned, the Golden Globes do encompass a lot of different things. So I always kind of want to know, Matt, what I need to watch to judge for myself that maybe I haven't caught already.
Okay, so yeah, this is the time of year where everyone's just like, oh yeah, haven't heard of that movie. Oh yeah, haven't heard of that TV show. So let me give you a couple of highlights here. For television, I think the one to check out is The Pit with Noah Wyle on Peacock. This is a great show, a medical drama, takes place within 24 hours inside a hospital. And of course, you've got Noah Wyle getting back to his ER roots. He is outstanding in this. He's also been nominated today for a Golden Globe for his role in that. And I have to tell you, I finally checked out Hamnet, which is the story about William Shakespeare and the death of his only son and how that leads up to the play Hamlet. I'm not a Shakespeare guy, but this movie blew me away in terms of drama, acting, everything under the sun. And I got to tell you, too, really like Frankenstein from Benicio del Toro on Netflix. Give that a go.
Well, I will check all of those out, Matt. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time this morning.
No worries, Megan. Have a good day.
You too. That is CBS News entertainment reporter Matt Wolf. And you can watch the 83rd annual Golden Globe ceremony on CBS, streaming on Paramount Plus. That's Sunday, January 11th. And just a note that comedian Nikki Glazer, a St. Louis local, is returning as MC. It's 8:35.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. This Christmas holiday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Christmas holiday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
President Trump plans to unveil a long-awaited $12 billion aid package for farmers who have been hit hard by low crop prices and the administration's tariff policies. A White House official telling Bloomberg the president will announce the package at an event later this afternoon. Farmers have been dealing with the slow ramp-up of Chinese purchases of soybeans and other agricultural products. Checking in on the markets, stock futures are little changed this morning. The main event of the week is the Federal Reserve's final meeting of the year. An interest rate cut is expected. And it's harder for home flippers to make money. According to real estate broker Redfin, investor activity has flattened, with home purchases ticking up 1% last quarter. Lots of buyers are getting priced out of the market. Investors are facing roadblocks, including high house prices and mortgage rates. Real estate investors purchased 17% of homes that sold last quarter. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Still ahead this hour on Total Information AM, experts say they're seeing a rise in female hackers, and the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra has started its holiday concerts. You'll get to meet the principal horn player coming up before 9 o'clock.
What's up, Missouri? Tony Gonzalez here. Your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook is live in Missouri. You can get in on all the action with fast withdrawals, a safe and secure app, and betting that's easy to use anywhere you go. And the best part, DraftKings keeps the excitement going with awesome promos and offers all season long. That's why it's America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't wait. New customers sign up today. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Let's go, Missouri. Get in the game.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code KMOX. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The holidays were tricky for the Colonel. He loved people, but he also loved peace and quiet. So he cooked up KFC's $4.99 chicken pot pie. Warm, flaky, with savory sauce and vegetables. It's a tender chicken-filled excuse to get some time to yourself and step away from decking the halls, whatever that means. The Colonel lived so we could chicken. KFC's Chicken Pot Pie. The best $4.99 you'll spend this season.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Taxes, tips, and fees extra.
Selling your home, it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. You could go it alone, trying to navigate market trends, determine fair pricing, and tackle tricky negotiations on your own. You could second guess every decision, wondering if you're doing it right. Then there's the showings, the offers, and the mountain of paperwork. Or you could work with the expertise of a realtor, here to guide and help protect as you make your next big move. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Democratic governors who met over the weekend in Arizona say the party has to focus on concerns such as housing prices, rent, and grocery costs in next year's midterm elections. Police in Edmonton, Canada have started a pilot project using AI-equipped body cameras to detect faces on a high-risk watch list. And the Federal Aviation Administration has launched an investigation into whether U.S. airlines complied with an emergency order to cut flights at 40 major airports during the recent government shutdown. Let's see how things are moving on the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, they're still working with the crash southbound 170 at Scudder. The left lanes are blocked. The right lanes are getting by. It's a solid jam back through Frost. It's almost midway back between Airport Road and 270 on southbound 170. Once you get around it, you're still bumper to bumper from Ladue down to 64. Eastbound 64 still backed up from McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker through Big Bend slow. North 270 north of Manchester up to Ladue busy. And it looks like They cleared the crash eastbound 70 east of our city, but there's still a jam from 5th Street headed in through that area right now. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is hiring residential garage door technicians and installers. Apply today, get a call today. Hiring bonus up to $4,000. Benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Apply today at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Looks like we're going to have clouds to start. Some sunshine this afternoon with a high of 33 for tonight, an overnight low around 29. Right now, we've got clouds 24 degrees downtown at the Arch. You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Cybersecurity breaches are still on the rise. Let's talk about that with Michael Bremer. He's Vice President and Head of Global Data Breach Resolution and Consumer Protection with Experian. Mike, thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Megan, for having me on.
What are we seeing when it comes to these attacks on our businesses and organizations?
Well, in our 13th annual predictions, 5 out of the 6 predictions involve AI. So that's at the forefront. And we're seeing also what, interestingly enough, a rise in women hacking. We call the prediction girls just want to have fun. And we believe in 2026, the number of women hackers are going to be doubling next year.
Any thoughts about the reasons why?
Well, women in cyber fields from 2017 to today have gone from 11% to over 35%. Furthermore, with all the high school STEM programs, as well as colleges and universities offering cyber degrees, and then finally, many more positions filled by women in cybersecurity, the rise of women hackers just stands to follow because of those.
Let's talk about the use of AI. What ways are hackers using AI?
Well, because AI can be more human than human, some of the ways they're using it are creating super synthetic IDs. And in fact, super synthetic IDs increased 300% in 2025, and 91% of those synthetic IDs passed or got by conventional detection.
Explain this for us. It's really fascinating. So basically, are they using encryption? Or is it just so realistic that it's getting through filters?
What they're able to do is create the perfect driver's license or birth certificate combining the identities of multiple people. So it may not be Megan or Michael. It may be Megan and Michael and someone else's social date of birth, but they bypass that. They could use it for passports, driver's license, even employment applications.
So how challenging is this for businesses and organizations at this point to try to stop all this?
In short, it's very difficult. Without the appropriate encryption, as well as endpoint detection, let alone employees that are trained to be able to not trust and verify everything that's coming in, businesses have an onslaught, and it's only made more difficult because of the use of AI.
What do you feel about how businesses report some of these breaches? Are they good about that?
We have seen a trend most recently and this is not something just from Experian, but across the industry, where businesses are less likely to report a breach for a couple reasons. One, the regulatory impact on the business, but also the reputational damage to the CEO, let alone we've seen CEOs that haven't handled data breaches very well lose their job.
Where does this leave the consumer and specifically their identity and their credit?
Consumers are really at risk right now, not only from scams, but just, doing something like clicking on a malicious link or using what seems to be a legitimate QR code. They can get a lot of trouble, but they're also doing some things that they shouldn't be doing, like not having a long or complex password, They're shopping on public Wi-Fi. They're taking chances, not putting on two-factor authentication with their apps and the website, or shopping on websites without the HTTPS. So human error is still a big component, but when you combine the current technology, supercharge it with AI, it makes it even more impossible for humans either not to make a human error or to detect a deep fake audio or video.
Beyond those things you mentioned, is there anything else that you would love consumers to do to better protect themselves?
Well, you always can sign up for Experience Identity Works free identity theft protection, and that's a way you can get alerted for any changes to your credit file and or something found on the dark web. And then the other thing I think is important, especially during the shopping season, is never use a debit card, but always use a credit card, and in particular, maybe a virtual one-time use credit card so it can't be tracked.
That is Michael Bremer, Vice President of Experian Global Data Breach Resolution and Consumer Protection. Thank you so much for spending time with us here on KMOX.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate it.
Hey, Missouri, if you haven't heard by now, FanDuel Sportsbook is live here in the Show Me State, and they're kicking things off with an offer that is really tough to beat. So right now, new customers can bet $5 and then get $300 in bonus bets. Whether you win or lose that initial $5 bet, you get those $300 bonus bets either direction. And it doesn't matter what you're choosing. Whether it's football, basketball, hockey, you can bet it all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. I've been on it since the app launched years ago. I just couldn't play in Missouri until now. Now I get to, and you can do. So download FanDuel today or head to FanDuel.com/Missouri to join in on the excitement, because Missouri, it's time to play your game with FanDuel. Remember, 21 and older and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Winterfest is back for the 10th year in Keener Plaza, now through January 11th. Enjoy Winterfest traditions, including ice skating, s'mores, and igloos underneath 100,000 twinkling lights in the shadow of the Gateway Arch. Grab a bite or drink from downtown favorites and enjoy a family-friendly New Year's Eve fireworks spectacular. Winterfest, hosted by Gateway Arch Park Foundation, presented by Bank of America and Worldwide Technology. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Welcome back to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch, and the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra is preparing to perform Handel's Messiah this week as part of its holiday concerts. There's a bunch coming up. And in studio this morning, we have Thomas Yoslein, who is the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra's Associate Principal Horn Player. Thank you so much for coming in studio this morning.
It's a pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you.
Is there something special about these holiday performances compared to the rest of the year?
For us musicians, every concert is special. I know I have to say that, but because Powell Hall has been revitalized and enlarged, and it's so incredible. So from that standpoint, first of all, come for that reason.
The whole atmosphere.
Yeah. All new. I mean, you name it. Another lobby, tons more restrooms, tons of bars all throughout the space. And the acoustic is not only the same as it used to be, but actually it's better. It's a little more vibrant, a little louder in certain parts. Like if you're sitting on the main floor under the balcony, it's much more vibrant. So anyways, but yeah, answer your question. Holiday concerts are special in general, but Powell, he says, is the reason to come. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about your background. You are the principal horn player, and you were saying, we can just call it a French horn, but there are a variety of horns that you perform on. Could you describe some of those for our listeners?
Sure. So to be clear, I'm the associate principal. So I do play principal horn for usually like the Pops concerts, that kind of thing. Not to be Mr. Precise.
I know it matters.
But anyways, but the French horn, I play generally the same horn for every concert. Mine's a fancy triple horn. So I've got a low horn, middle horn, and a high horn all smushed into one, with like two thumb valves, and I know your eyes are like, what is that?
So are those the valves that are just the buttons, or the valves that are more like the levers?
Okay, the buttons. Yeah. So I joke I can miss notes in 15 different ways. So, but other than that, I do play the Swiss Alp horn on occasion. I'm performing.
Is that the big long?
The big long, the Ricola, the 12.5 foot. Yeah.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
doing my version of Amazing Grace with my son on violin this Saturday, but it's not the symphony; it's in Troy. So, anyways, but I love the Alp horn, love the sound. And besides, I do play also natural horn, which is the horn without the valves. So I've performed like in September. I did the great Brahms horn trio on this, and that's basically change notes by using your hand in the bell and shifting it in and out. So, anyways, but basically for the symphony, I play this triple horn. Yeah,
so fascinating. Well, I mentioned Handel's Messiah is coming up this weekend. It starts December 12th. The performances. What's it like performing with a choir?
So first of all, horn players love Messiah because there are no horn parts. So there are some in the Mozart version. Mozart actually redid the Messiah, including horn parts. So we actually get the week.
You get that break
mostly off, which is nice. Especially for me, is nice because I'm not looking for sympathy here, but I did fall on the ice last week and severely either cracked or damaged my ribs. So I get the week to recover, which is awesome.
Because when you're trying to get your diaphragm to work and get that air out, I'm sure that's a little painful.
100%. Yeah. So Messiah, I'm not playing, but I love the conductor, Nick McGeegan. He smiles the whole time he's conducting, and he's just a joy to work with. So come to that for sure. And the choir here, by the way, the chorus is like the top I've ever heard. If you heard the Britain War Requiem about a month ago, they were just kicking butt. Really significant part for them. So, but come for that. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned your son, also a musician. I'm wondering, one of the popular things that the orchestra does is when you do music from a movie. And I noticed that Home Alone is one of the Christmas things. Now, do you get to perform in that?
I get to. I'm very excited. Yeah. I've played that a few times before, including with the Philly Orchestra a couple years ago. But the horn part is spectacular. Besides the end credits, which has lots of little punchy horn solos for me, there are some beautiful lyrical solos. The main theme, the candles in the window theme, is often in the horn part up to soaring high notes. That's kind of fun to play.
It's so interesting because I think when people watch movies like that, you don't think of the musical score. But I'm sure as you play, is it fun to watch the audience and see their reaction to this music as they're watching?
For sure. And this score is by John Williams. This is not just a run-of-the-mill Hollywood whoever guy filling in the space. So when you play it, you recognize the quality. So it's not just the same music repeated, but it's done in different orchestrations.
What else do we have to look forward to from the orchestra?
Yep. So besides those, we have the In Unison chorus singing with the Clark sisters, so a gospel-themed Christmas concert. I'm not playing that, but I am playing the Mercy Holiday Celebration, which is our annual, our big traditional Christmas concerts. We have Kennedy Holmes singing for that, which is exciting. She was on The Voice, was a finalist for that. And of course Santa visits, but the music for that, actually, for not to speak just about the French horn, but we have some great horn parts in that. There's the Polar Express suite and a couple other melodies which have very festive horn. The horn epitomizes Christmas. You think of Christmas like little ornaments. The horn is usually the one that's shown. So and sure enough, we have good parts. So.
How important is it to draw these younger generations into music for you?
Yeah. So great question. In fact, I told you a story before we went on the air about bringing a 15-year-old tuba player to the symphony this past Saturday, and then having her experience us live in a real concert setting, and not just a film, but just the orchestra. And she was blown away. And I got her backstage to meet our wonderful trombone players, and her eyes were just like lighting up. So young people need to hear us live. It's one thing to hear us on a little screen, but if you're there in person in Powell with these revamped acoustics and amenities, I mean, it really blows your socks off. Yeah.
And here's to all those school band directors who put in the work to keep these kids interested.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, Associate Principal Horn Thomas Yostline joining us in studio this morning. And if you want to see the whole calendar, you can go to slso.org and you can call the box office at 314-534-1700. Thank you so much for being in this morning.
Thank you, Megan. Yep.
Had a crazy fun sports weekend. The Billikens win, Blues win, college football playoff, and the bowl games are all set. We'll talk about that. Matt Pauley will check in from the winter meetings in Florida. Andrew